1, 2, 3. Can you hear me?
When the lights are out and you stumble in the dark, you kept pushing on, but then you went too far. When your ship has sailed and all your dreams are lost, everything is wrong, you feel like it's your fault. Just when the lights are out and you stumble in the dark, you kept pushing on, but then you went too far. When your ship has sailed and all your dreams are lost, everything is wrong, you feel like it's your fault. Just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life throws lemons, just call me. Just call me. Just call me. Just call me. You're stronger now than you ever been. You gotta leave now, it's time to catch the wind. You will climb up high and look through the clouds, and when you're feeling low, I know you'll bounce back. Oh, and just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life throws lemons, just call me. Just call me. Just call me. Just call me.
From Las Vegas Motor Speedway, the Sunday Night NASCAR Cup Series, brought to you by Stacy Strong and Trish's Hope, is ready to get the round of 8, race number 1 underway here in the home of all that is gambling and excitement in Sin City in Clark County, Nevada. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Tony Trapasso Memorial Broadcast Booth, where we've got more people than you can shake a stick at coming in to hang out with us tonight, as this is the penultimate week in our season here at Sim Racing Media, as all of us are getting ourselves set for the warm weather of sunny South Florida. Liam Jorvig and, of course, Alan Bergen with me alongside here in the broadcast booth. We're ready to rock and roll, as all of you are as well. We want to thank everybody for tuning in. From the green flag to the checkered flag, right here on Sim Racing Media. And gentlemen, it is exciting to be with both of you tonight, and it sounds like we're going to have somebody else popping their head in later too.
Yeah, we're going to have Mr. Matt Mettler popping in, but you guys are going to be wheels up here in just days, and I'm getting the keys to SRM, so.
Big time responsibilities there for Alan, but speaking of big-time responsibilities now, we've got 8 drivers that are ready to try to race for a championship, and they've got a lot of responsibility on their plate here today with race number 1 of the round of 8.
Yeah, this round of 8, guys, has been a long time coming. I mean, we've seen a lot of good drivers be eliminated from the playoffs, and at the same time, we've seen a lot of, great drivers maintain their positions right now. As we take a look, our track temperature 84 degrees, so it's going to be nice and tight here for grip on the racetrack. But let's take a look at those points and see where we stand as we pull that graphic up over here. That's not going to be the one. Here it is. As, of course, qualifying is now finished. They've got about 5 minutes of warm-up. Neil Pearson, Sean Rogers, Matt Long, Paul Hill, Bobby Anderson, Chris Davis, Eric Papineau, and Tane Hodison all survive and make it here into the round of 8, race number 1. Liam, I know that this is something that you and I are going to get a chance to see next week. We got to see Elimination Week last year at Miami, and, as things go on in the 2 lower tiers, we're going to see Elimination Week at Miami. What do you think we're going to see out of these drivers who now open the round of 8 in the Cup Series?
Well, it's going to be tough for him. You can't sit here and points race like you maybe did at the early start of this playoff. These guys are going to have to be pushing the pedal to the metal, try to get as close to the front as they can be, try to get that win to lock themselves in. One mistake, so few competitors racing for a championship can really cost you it.
Yeah, for a lot of these drivers, we've seen some, as I had mentioned, some really good drivers get eliminated from playoff contention. Of course, one of them being Tanner Marty here in the 29. We also saw McAdoo, Pennsylvania's very own John Wilco get eliminated as well. Kind of sad to see some of them go. The 88 of Michael Witt. And, of course, Chief Cook and Bottle Washer Chris Claude also gets eliminated. And when we get ready to go green flag racing, you'll see the names of the current round of 8 drivers highlighted in purple on the left-hand side of your screen. Once again, Dave Regal, Liam Jorvig, and Alan Bergen with you here in the Tony Trapasso Memorial Broadcast Booth. I cannot be happier to be with you guys tonight. I mean, look, I've already, pretty much gotten myself excited for Miami this week. Of course, going to be missing someone very important. She knows who she is, but I'm excited to see you guys and finally get down there into the sun.
Yeah, I can't wait I'm going to see you from afar on a webcam, but nonetheless, Dave, I'm going to look forward to next June when I'm going to give you the full dirt track experience, buddy.
Liam, I don't know how much experience you have with the dirt track, but apparently asphalt is the way that you get to the racing and dirt is where the racing happens. Are you familiar with this term?
Oh, very, very. I've got some friends that they race up in Ogilvie, Minnesota. That's a spot where the World of Outlaws has run plenty of sprint car races there. And that is exactly how it goes. The asphalt is only what you drive on the way up. Get on that racetrack. You are kicking dirt up, and you are trying to slide your way up to the front.
Yeah, Alan's trying to talk me into going out to Lernerville out in western PA, so you want to maybe carve out a little bit of time on your calendar for next spring. And we can go check out Kennywood outside of Pittsburgh, where they brew Rolling Rock in Latrobe, Pennsylvania, and, of course, the Lernersville Speedway.
Yes, sir.
Sorry,
Go
Alan. I
ahead.
was just gonna say Lernerville, obviously a track on the iRacing service here, so it's gonna be a lot of fun to be able to see some racing action there in real life.
Hey, look, over the summer, for my birthday weekend, I was about 4 hours south of you, Liam, there at Knoxville Speedway, and it's cool to get to these racetracks that are on the iRacing.com servers. But Liam, we got to make it out to Lernerville, give Dave the dirt track treatment, as it were, and watch the Lucas Oil Dirt Late Model Series as Ricky Thornton just wrapped up that championship in dramatic fashion.
Always something to behold on the dirt. I mean, just a couple of weeks ago, Dave Blaney won his third Lou Blaney Memorial, a race for his father, and promptly retired at Victory Lane. Said, "All right, glad I won this because this is it."
I mean, if you're gonna go, you might as well go from Victory Lane.
He pulled a Brian Burke off for Liam. Think back to 2014. Brian Burkhofer wins the Knoxville Nationals for the Lucas Oil Dirt Late Model Series. Pulls it in the victory lane and says, "I'm done."
I've given all I can. Now I'm going to relax.
I mean, look, he's Dave Blaney. He can do pretty much whatever he wants. I mean, when your son is out there having a successful stock car racing career, you can pretty much rest on your laurels and put your feet up.
To mention Dave's successful dirt racing career, running in the World of Outlaws Series, he was a USAC Triple Crown champion, I believe.
He was.
Did a lot done in his day.
Take a look right now. About 30 seconds left in the warm-up segment. Looks like Chris Custer went fastest time here in warm-up, 29:52. He's decided not to stain his ride and use Tide this time around. Speaking of which, I did pick up a new Tide pen to bring along to Miami today.
Oh, smart.
Yeah, well, because I'm prone to getting stuff on my shirts.
Oh, no, as somebody who enjoys barbecue, I am right with you.
Oh, my goodness.
Might
And it's
not
gonna
look
be
as much
Cuban
as you do.
barbecue. Cuban barbecue and beer. It's not going to get much better. I did have a little bit of a disappointment. I was looking for cigars yesterday, couldn't find them, so we're going to have to go down there and, get Cubans. That'll be fine. We're only going to be 80 miles from the island.
90 if we go down to Key West, but yes.
Want to give Matt Mettler a shout out. He'll be in here a little bit longer, he'll be along a little bit later on. But ask him about Friday night when Tony Trapazzo made a appearance into the booth via his kitty cat.
I'm sorry. What? You know what? What?
The cat broke wind on the air.
Yeah, we know. Oh, wait. Oh, Matt's cat. Okay. See, you got to give a little bit more background to people like Liam and I. We were here for the original incident. Well, this time it was 2.0.
Speaking
of background, let's look ahead now instead of in the rearview mirror. Bobby Anderson, he's going to be our pole sitter tonight alongside of Matt Long in row number 1 out of Atlanta, Georgia. Dylan Banks and Neil Pearson, they're going to sit in row number 2, while row 3 is going to feature Sean Rockin' Rogers and Noah Hamilton in the 45. Row number 4 is going to be Tane Hodison and Matt Cox with Mike McConville from South Jersey alongside of Jeff Carson from Cross Junction, Virginia. They're going to round out your starting top 10. Ryan Samuelson and Diego Rodriguez going to be in row number 6, while row 7 is going to feature Ron Fitting and Matt Gaskins. Paul Hill and Dalton Mobley, they'll be in row number 8, while Chad Sander and Tyler Hutter sit in row 9. Your starting top 20 going to be rounded out by Chris Custer and Richard Pruitt, with Matt Mackin and Logan Giesbrecht in 21st and 22nd. Tanner Marty and Chris Claude, chief cook and bottle washer here out of Fairview, Tennessee. They'll be in row number 12, while row 13 is Michael Caffrey and Michael Witt. Chris Davis and Keith Long in 27th and 28th, with Cody McCorkle, Eric Popino, Austin Call, Larry Miles from north of the border, Alex Princeton, Rich Jett, Steve Herring, and John Wilco out of McAdoo, Pennsylvania. They'll be there up into 36, and starting shotgun on the field tonight going to be Ken Ron and Timothy Cook in the final row. Fellas, we're headed down the backstretch. It's time to get ready to rock and roll.
Yes, we've got, 36 drivers ready to roll here at the high banks of Las Vegas. 267 laps coming our way. Going to be 400 miles. Who knows? We might get a little bit of extra action towards the end. But Bobby Anderson in that Bobby Labonte paint scheme. Interstate batteries, Toyota. No, he's actually in a Ford Mustang. Yeah, had me confused there for a second. He's ready to lead him down, babe.
Yeah, it's always confusing when we see the different manufacturer with the paint scheme. Screws me up every time, but right now, the iRacing.com pace car makes the hard left turn down. Never mind, no depth. There it is, down pit road. The only thing that's left to do is it's time to wipe the visor and adjust the 5-point harness. Grandma, grab your honey buns, roll the dice, and settle in. Race fans, it's show time! Green flag in the air, into turn one they go, and it is a mess behind Bobby Anderson and Dylan Banks, who go single file.
3 wide already towards the outside of the top 10, or just inside there. They start to settle back to double wide. These guys trying to stay pretty clean here on this initial race start. They know there's a long way to go. This is one of the most opportune spots to try to get passes, as now you see that 45 of Noah Hamilton working his way up to the top. Tried to make a move there on the 50 in front of him. 58 there of Neil Pearson. I think doing for the moment.
Noah Hamilton hanging on as best as he can. Now look at him dive to the low side here. Alan, check this out. All of a sudden, they go door handle to door handle down the back chute.
This is absolutely crazy. They're cranked up to crazy, by the way, and 3 wide and making it happen. But right now, Bobby Anderson back at the front of the field. He's sitting high, wide, and handsome, and out to that 1 second gap already.
I'll tell you what, when you get to see somebody like Bobby Anderson lay down a 30.02, I mean, we know that all of a sudden he is going to start gapping the field, and it's not going to be long. Take a look back here at Chris Custer in the 66. He's exactly where he started right now in 19th position, but he's closing in quickly on Ron Fitting and Tyler Hutter just in front of him. He's trying to find out how he's going to get around him. Let's go on board with Chris and see what it looks like from his perspective.
And that is a huge gaggle of cars, Dave, so you're going to anticipate a little bit of checking up happening as drivers maneuver back and forth between lanes. Could be a good opportunity for Custer here to try to gain some spots, as now he works to the outside. 48 Camaro's going to come right in front of him. That's Tyler Hunter. Now he moves down to the inside, and that 2 car a little bit slow up on the top. That's Dalton Mobley. Custer's going to be able to get back by them both.
Dalton Mobley up here in the 2 car, as you had mentioned, on the high side. He's got to find a way to get down low. There's some speed locked up in the high line, and this racetrack can go into 3 different grooves with low, high, mid. And it looks like right now he's going to stick here in the middle groove because there's not almost next to no grip up there against the wall. We saw that earlier with the 45 of Noah Hamilton, who is bouncing off the top of the wall. That's just, there's nothing there yet.
Yeah, nothing there. But you guys got, who's going to be the driver that ventures up there and says, you know what, there's got to be something up here. And it takes a lot of skill to run that outside line here at Vegas.
Matt Cox just laid down a 29.90, and now he takes over the lead from Bobby Anderson. Matt Cox just crawled up out of 8th position and made it look easy. It's almost like he strapped a hairnet on to start serving lunch.
Definitely not wasting any time to get up here to the front. Obviously, we're early on here. 6 laps complete when they cross the stripe, but you got to wonder, how much of these tires is he using up? Is it going to affect him later on in this run, as now Bobby Anderson gets right within a car length here, getting right to the back bumper of that 32 machine, Matt Cox.
I would imagine that Amanda Price in the YouTube.com live chat cheering on Sean Rockin' Rogers.
Taking a look over there at the YouTube.com live chat. There she is cheering him on. And, of course, Mama Mac McConville from Cape May, New Jersey. I'm not on the way to Cape May. We're on the way to Miami. We'll find another song to sing about that for sure. As Neil Pearson, the modern-day Silver Fox, runs in 8th position. Let's take a look at Mama Mac's little boy, Mike, as Mikey Mac McConville in the Lincoln Park number 1 Chevrolet Camaro now heads down the back chute. And Mikey Mac under assault now from Noah Hamilton as Hamilton looks to the low side to see if he can get around Mike.
You know, Liam, if you had a webcam right now, you could see Dave. He's smiling from ear to ear, knowing that in 3 days he's boarding an airplane, not Spirit Airlines, and going south to Miami to get a sunburn.
2 days. Let's not get it messed up. 2 days.
2 days.
Tuesday is the day.
The day. However,
The day.
Sunday is the day for these drivers. Matt Cox holds out of the race lead by just over 1/10 of a second. Bobby Anderson not letting him get too far away. We've got the 1 and the 3 side by side here. Mike McConville and Ron Fitting coming up off of turn number 4, trying to get up into the top 15. Monster Energy number 3 Toyota Camry. Looking strong up on the top side, but that code red Toyota Camry makes a move down to the inside.
Yeah, watching that 45 do the best that he can right now. He's got 2/10 in front of him, and almost 2/10 behind him as we go back here to Chad Sanner. And Sanner in the 94 holding off Richard Pruitt. I mean, these guys deep in the field are fighting one another like kids in the back seat of the station wagon. As we go up here to the 58 of Neil Pearson, he's now side by side with the 81 of Ryan Samuelson, your sister's favorite driver.
Like you said, these guys are fighting like they are in the back of a station wagon. But I tell you what, you don't want these fights to be what ends up turning this car around. You want to keep that thing straight, going forward. Guys are fighting hard, fighting close, but fighting clean.
You know, I think that that's the important thing to look at. I mean, you know, here we are 2x2. And, you know, Liam, you and I have called a lot of these leagues where if we see 2x2 action, we know bad things are ready to break out. These guys, it's like synchronized swimming. They're doing all of this just this side of perfectly here on lap number 12 of 267. And I'll tell you what, here, even in stage racing where they know that they've got a scheduled caution coming up, they're still duking it out hard but safe.
Speaking of duking it out, looking back up front for the race lead, Bobby Anderson with a run.
You know, I would call him the candy man, but he's the battery man today.
Bobby Anderson working his way around the top here of Matt Cox in the 32. All of a sudden, Matt Gaskins in the 79. He wants to make this a three-way battle. We're going to go on board now with Gaskins and check this out as we rotate the camera here to the low side. He has nothing but traffic on either side of him. All of a sudden, it's rush hour on the Schuylkill Expressway for Matt Gaskins.
Trying to make that pass happen up on the top side. He's got Matt Cox to his inside. You're Bobby Anderson in the lead right now. You're enjoying this, seeing both of these guys side by side. You know it's going to slow them down a little bit. That run coming up off of the top side is going to benefit Matt Gaskins here. We'll see if he can get cleared coming through turns 3 and 4. Looks like he's going to be able to, and now he puts the top side, he puts the move on the top side to try to take the lead away from Bobby Anderson. Not quite enough there, but he's got to run.
All of a sudden, he's got the run. He's holding on to this real close. And now a fourth car gets ready to dance as now the 70 of Dylan Banks is going to hop in here. We suddenly have a four-way battle for the lead. Now, it looks like things have cooled off between Cox and Gaskins. But Gaskins now looks to the high side. He's making it work, clawing his way up to Bobby Anderson.
Yeah, trying to run a little bit different line. He knows it's working for him off the corner, but in the center, he loses just a couple of car lengths. Not quite able to recover that down the straightaway this time around. See if that changes as he moves his line up the racetrack after about 15 laps on these tires.
Bobby Anderson leads the way. He's followed by Matt Gaskins, Matt Cox, Tyler Hutter, Dylan Banks. That's your top five. Sean Rogers, Matt Long, Ryan Samuelson, Dalton Mobley, and now Neil Pearson slides his way into the top 10. And suddenly Neil Pearson holding off Tane Hodison and Paul Hill for that 10th position. It's a three-way battle for 10th.
Yeah, here we are. Oh, we got a car going 3 wide. It looks like Hodison and going 3 wide with Mobley and Paul Hill there. Thought better of it. But you guys, we're starting to see some cars venture back up to that high line now. Those guys are going to start trying to test the waters out there. Oh, don't Mobley go around.
Round! Big crash coming up off of turn number 4. More cars are going to get collected as they all check up. Numerous cars with damage here, and that all started with car number 2. They turned sideways to Mobley.
Oh, that's enough to make you nauseous. No fast repairs in this league, folks.
Hey, you guys know what a good chiropractor is?
If I did, I'd send him Dalton Mobley's way for sure. Let's watch this from the blimp cam. Dalton Mobley here in the deuce. All of a sudden, he's just over-rotating, loses the front end. The 6 goes into him. He collects the 34. Oh.
The byproduct of riding that high side, there's no grip up there right away. But you had to venture up there. You had to see what was up there, what that was all about.
I hate to say that I was right, but there was definitely no grip on the high side.
We've seen a lot of guys venture up there, but he's sitting kind of on that seam when it starts to break sideways.
We're going to watch this from the flag stand perspective as they get ready to come out of turn number 4. Here they come. And there they are. Oh, all of that landscaping gone to waste.
Well, I mean, they could use preen.
They probably should now.
Some Scott's Turf Builder Plus. But nonetheless, wholesale pit stops are going to be getting here pretty soon. If they already haven't.
You know, Liam, you said it earlier, 267 laps for 400 miles. Drivers having 9 tire sets total, so they're going to lay 8, start 9. And stage break's going to be at lap 80 and 165, so we're just about a quarter of the way through stage 1. As a driver, what's going through your mind is now we kind of have this weird little reset.
Well, you're getting really close to being able to make it to the end of the stage on this set of fuel. So it's or on this tank of fuel. So I would have to believe. I mean, that's why everybody already has come into the pits. Want to try to make it through these stages with only one stop in the middle of it. Just save those tires as long as you can. Set yourself up and have a couple extra sets to get those late race cautions.
And getting the Alan Bergen Award of the Alan Bergen Bonehead Award of the night is Chris Custer and Chris Davis. They've decided to stay out while everybody else is on fresh tires.
I like that. The Alan Bergen Bonehead move of the race.
It's not an honor.
See what happens with these guys, but they are going to be on old tires, and they're going to have to make a pit stop here before the end of stage number 1. Potentially anticipating a quick caution here, and maybe everybody else coming back into the pits.
To your point, I mean, they're looking here. It's 89 degrees on the asphalt, 72 outdoor ambient air temperature. So I wouldn't be too afraid of the cold tire bug. At 89 degrees, there's plenty of grip in here.
I mean, these guys have definitely probably checked their tires, see what percentage it is. It says, you know what, I can make it a little bit further before I come in. But nonetheless, you're going to have all these guys that are on fresh tires now. They're going to damn near be qualifying.
Yeah, they're going to have to put the pedal to the metal to try to get around these guys up in front of them. I suppose you have only got 2 that have stayed out, but you're not going to want to spend much time behind the 66 and the 74, no matter where you are in the pack. Get caught up behind these cars that are slower on older tires, get yourself in a world of trouble, losing a ton of position.
As we get ready to go back, green flag racing, our restarting order is going to be Chris Custer, Chris Davis, Tane Hoddeson, Bobby Anderson, Dylan Banks, Sean Rogers, Tyler Hunter, Matt Long, Ryan Samuelson, and Paul Hill. That's your top 10 as they all make their way through turn 1 and 2 here. We want to thank everybody for tuning in and making us a part of your evening. We want to thank you for welcoming us into your homes, onto your phones, wherever you may be and however you may be listening. And, basically a little bit of a programming note. Tomorrow night, Alan Bergen going to be covering Monday Night NASCAR Xfinity Series action from right here in Sin City. It's a sin to let Alan alone, so we figured Las Vegas was about the best place for that. Alan, who's covering Tuesday night here? I mean, you're the one, Alan, who's got all the and all of the scheduling under control for the week. Is a lot of our series are going to be on a slight hiatus due to us not being around. But give us the insight here, and where's everybody going to be?
So Tuesday night, you'll have myself and Colin McDonough on the Racers Elite Truck Series, as they're going to go at Pocono. And then Wednesday night, you got SCL with myself and Mr. Shane Lake. I believe that Roughneck Dirt will go on a slight hiatus. I love dirt racing, but, I love SCL too. Thursday night will be Miami once again for Racers Elite. You can catch myself and Mr. Rick Webb on that show. Liam will be at Indianapolis with more than likely yours truly pulling double duty that night.
Oh no, I'm in Miami.
You're in Miami.
He's going
Well, it
to
looks
Miami.
like he's going to Miami.
By the
Let's
time
get
that
Miami.
goes live, Liam's going to be half in the bag alongside of yours truly.
I haven't heard anything about Indy, but I have heard that Chris Custer rather, is holding on to the race lead right now. He's got a little bit of a fight from the outside, but they're side by side for second place as Custer is able to hold on to this lead. Meanwhile, the 74 has fallen back to about fifth place since Chris Davis restarted on the outside of the first row. Here comes Custer sliding up the racetrack. That's going to allow the 70 to get down to his inside.
Whoa.
And almost going up into the wall was 93 of Tane Hoddison.
Watch the 70 now. He gets around Chris Custer. And, I guess the question that I have to ask from a driver's standpoint, maybe you guys can answer this for me. But, is it scarier to try to get around that driver that doesn't have the grip because you're thinking to yourself, one twitch of the hand and all kinds of bad is going to happen? Are you trying to be more cautious getting around that driver on old tires, or are you just going to serve him lunch and get around?
I just want to serve him lunch, get around, and waste as little time as I can. Hope that he holds up the cars behind me, like it seems like he's doing with that 48. Not quite letting him get away. However, it's not quite enough for number 70, Dylan Banks, to be able to really reel in the benefits. Now the 48 tries to move down to the inside. Tyler Hunter, he's got the nose down there. Is it going to be enough through turns 3 and 4?
Looking off from the rear bumper now of the 70, our new race leader, Dylan Banks. He looks back and he sees nothing but a pack of angry Hornets behind him. The 48 of Tyler Hunter, he's coming like a... Oh, here it comes. He's going to make the pass on the high side. He's got the run. Does he have enough to get around him? Let's watch Tyler Hunter take over the race lead now as he slides around the 70. Canton, Ohio may be the Hall of Fame for football players, but it's also the Hall of Fame for the 48 tonight.
And here we go. Chris Custer going to make it attempt to make it 3 wide, coming out of turn number 4. And this is where you start to see him fall back, as these drivers are going to waste no time getting around Chris Custer or Chris Long, or Chris Davis, rather. Not
a twitch out of the 93.
Gaskets got up into the wall there, too, coming up off of turn 2. Both drivers able to continue on, but yeah, the 93 and 79, super tight racing coming up off of 2.
Trying to figure out what's on the 79's hood tonight. I'm curious what this is.
It's a Vault Tech.
Huh. Looking good. Looking good. I almost thought that it almost looked like the old America Online logo.
I see what you mean, but I was almost thinking it reminded me more of Ted Musgrave's old number 16. Rhyme Star, maybe?
Could be. I like that, too.
That was a clean paint scheme back in the day.
Really was. That's a clean run up number 79. Up on top here is Chris Custer, still doing a pretty good job. He's in 6th place, hasn't lost a ton of positions, but gets a little bit loose, slides off the bottom, and that's going to allow the 45 the opportunity to get down to the inside. Noah Hamilton, he's a lap down at this point. This is not a passport position. Going to slide up a little bit. Custer gives him room, but man, these guys are racing tight.
The 66 of Chris Custer has now tumbled all the way back into 8th position after restarting as our race leader. The 74 of Chris Davis now, he's in 9th position trying to get himself, a nice clean restart here as we work lap number 30. And it looks like he's got it pretty well secured for the time being. He's going to ride the high side of the 45. And now the 45 is going to be able to make the pass. That's Noah Hamilton. He's down a lap now. Noah Hamilton would be your lucky dog if we had a caution at the moment. Thank goodness we don't.
You might need an arc.
Not really in the mood to talk about people taking a tumble at Vegas, but definitely not the way that the driver wants to be moving right now. Meanwhile, Matt Gaskins has worked his way back up into 2nd place after contacting the wall coming up off of turn number 2, gets around Sean Rogers. Started this race in P5, Sean Rogers did. Sits in 3rd place, but Matt Gaskins, he's up from 14th place to get up into 2nd, right behind Tyler Hunter, who is also one of our biggest movers of the day. He's up 17 to be in the race lead.
Yeah, Tyler Hunter has made a statement for himself all of a sudden. I mean, 17 positions is a lot to overcome anywhere, but here at Vegas, I mean, this kind of harkens back to the days of Bob Nestor when this was almost one of his favorite tracks in this league. And he, of course, a longtime veteran of this league and made this place one of his favorites. As we make our way through turn 1 and 2 complex, Tyler Hunter leads the way as we look back just a little bit further. Here's Neil Pearson side by side underneath the 93 of Tane Hodison in the Rogue Family Law Ford Mustang.
Kind of seems like the front half of this pack is kind of split up, gotten single file, separated a little bit. Meanwhile, we see the 75 and the 66 still together and a gaggle of cars right behind them. Some three-wide action in the middle of it. Almost looks like we're racing at Atlanta, not Las Vegas with these guys, but working their way through, trying to figure out where are they going to slot into line. However, the front part of this field is definitely separated out a lot more than we saw in the first run. We got 34 laps complete when they cross the start-finish line. Chris Davis still trying to hold on to that top 10. Looks like Austin Call is going to be able to take that away.
Austin Call in the Aflac Toyota Camry crosses the line in 10th position. He's going to hold on to that 10th spot for the time being. He's going to chase down Michael Witt in the PepsiCo 88 Chevrolet. And right here is Matt Long. Now, Matt Long, of course, a playoff driver. We all know him very well. And former playoff driver, that is. And I thought he was still currently a playoff driver, perhaps. I messed up a graphic. Yep, Matt Long should still be highlighted in purple.
Just don't mess up the beer selection when you get to Miami.
Cold.
That's about all we need.
Cold. Yeah.
Cold.
Not picky.
I prefer Busch Light, the official beer of NASCAR, but I also take A&W Root beer. It's a good choice of beer for all of you people who maybe don't like to partake in that. Or just water. Water is a good call.
Water is always a good call, especially when you're in South Florida. Good Lord. I remember last year going through the infield with John and just dying of thirst, thinking I didn't even want beer at that point. I just needed something cold and wet. Give me water.
Good time, as now we see the three of Ron Fitting moving down to the inside of Gaskins, trying to take away second place. Starting to see some comers and goers as we've got about 10-15 laps into this run. I would anticipate for most of these drivers, this is going to be the set of tires, the tank of fuel that they finish this stage on.
Tyler Hunter's still your race leader. He's followed by Ron Fitting. I mean, a lot of these guys are finally starting to gap themselves out a little bit, but as we look back here to Michael Witt, here's the next gaggle of cars that's all knotted up here. And when we start to see some of these wads in the middle of the field, that's where I get a little bit nervous because you may think that they've got a lot of space between them, but that air in there is more disturbed than the three of us. I mean, good Lord, you're holding on for dear life.
And it's only going to get worse as this run continues on. Take a look now at Michael Witt. Looks like he's got a little Dale Jr., Dale Sr. throwback scheme here with the PepsiCo logo.
Deeper back in the field, here's Chris Claude in the number 10 Monster Energy Camry. He's in this weird little section of cars. Check out the 93 of Tane Hodison, who's all the way back here, 15 spots down, now trailing Chris Custer. It seems like the 93 and the 66 they're magnetically attached. I mean, they both were up front at the same time, and they both have sank back here in the field together.
Yeah, Tane is just trying to find a way to get around that 66. It seems like he's just been stuck behind him for a little bit. I was going to try to pull a little bit of a toe and work the outside in turns 1 and 2. He's going to be able to get that momentum over the 66 like we've seen the drivers in front, like the 19 and the 71. Talking about Alex Princeton and Keith Long just in front of these guys. But now Tane Hodison, as he falls all the way back to 22nd, is finally able to get around the 66 of Custer. Meanwhile, look at that one right up next to the wall. Diego Rodriguez, he's a lap down at this point. Staying out of the way.
You know, and there's something to be said about a driver who stays out of the way like Diego is right now. I mean, you know, yeah, he could be up here trying to make life difficult for so many different people, but Diego, respectably enough, stays out of the way from the main battles here on the racetrack as Keith Long and Alex Prinzen go side by side. And I've known Alex since his first race in this league while I was still a driver, and you know, he has come out here. He's fast, he's skilled, and it's only stage one. He really hasn't done a whole lot. I mean, he's crawled up 13 spots out of 33rd, but he's going to quietly march his way toward that top 10.
We just had a driver get all upset there. Not sure who it was, but it happened behind Ron Fitting.
Pretty sure that was Keith.
Okay. There's the 71 cart. Can Ron?
I swear, every time I look away to switch something else happens.
I mean, that's the way it goes.
No, we don't have that league anymore. Watch Eric Papineau here in the 17. He's going to try to split him. He stays to the middle of the modern-day Silver Fox. That's Neil Pearson on the high side. Or, I'm sorry, now ahead of him. And now on the high side is the 79 of Matt Gaskins. Falling into line just ahead of Mike McConville as McConville decides to dive in underneath and get around Gaskins. I wonder if Gaskins made maybe a bad choice in adjustment during his pit stop.
It is entirely possible. We saw him get up there racing for second place. Now he's fallen all the way outside of the top 10. So comers and goers here at Las Vegas definitely being a story here in the first stage. Meanwhile, Sean Rogers gotten himself back into second. Bobby Anderson has moved his way up into third once again. Paul Hill up in fourth, and Ron Fitting, after running second for a little while, has fallen back to fifth place.
Matt Gaskins running in 13th right now. Let's check in on our leader, Tyler Hutter. He's got Sean Rogers to the low side behind him, but Tyler Hutter right now, our highest running non-playoff driver. Of course, it's hard to be any higher than first, as he's got 3 playoff drivers behind him in Rogers, Anderson, and Hill. Matt Long down there in 8th position with Pearson and Papineau behind him. And then 3 other non-playoff drivers, Fitting, Banks, and Austin Call, 5, 6, and 7.
Right now, about that 12th spot, you know, there's still a lot of action going on, and you would be remiss to say that there's more action going on here than a Waffle House at 3 a.m.
I've seen some pretty wild fights at the Waffle House at 3 a.m., but we've got some great fights on the racetrack right now with Eric Papineau looking to the top side of Neil Pearson. Or rather, Mike McConville there. Neil Pearson just in front. Nothing quite doing there getting through turns 1 and 2, but he was really trying to push that nose up there on the top side.
He gets a little bit of a run on entry here, but McConville able to rotate that one machine on exit just this side of perfectly. Even with a little bit of a bobble coming out of 4, he's still able to run away from the 17 better than the 17 can get in on him on entry. And the 17 right now getting a helpful push here from Michael Witt. Maybe that's the only thing keeping the 17 competitive with the 1 of Mikey Mac McConville.
Well, so now you got that number 88 going around Eric Papineau in that number 17 car. And that's the position battle for 11th right now.
New race leader, it's Rogers.
Rogers out in front. Bobby Anderson tried to take away the second place. Pole setter Bobby Anderson not letting that 48 hold on to second. But 48 wants to stay strong up on the top side. Looks like this is going to be Bobby Anderson's chance to get clear. Is now the 6, so Paul Hill tries to follow him through.
The 48 getting a little loose coming out of turn number 4. IPW Esports cheering on the 48, saying Tyler is sexy. But the RaceEPI.com 48 machine of Tyler Hunter now starting to fade backward here, as he was our race leader for quite some time. Now Sean Rogers rocks his way up here in the beast mode, number 44 Chevrolet Camaro, followed by Bobby Anderson, that Dark Horse Mustang, running P2. But Story of the race at this moment is going to be the 6 and the 18. I'm sorry, the 6 and the 48, as Paul Hill now works to get around the 48 of Tyler Hunter.
Do have to give a big shout out to car number 40, Austin Call. He's up to 7th place right now at the tail end of your screen. He's up 24 positions from the start of this race. He started all the way back in 31st. Doing a great job continuing to pass cars, continuing to keep a patient hand on them, making things happen when they need to happen. I tell you what, man, you don't move up 24 spots by forcing issues. Make it by taking runs that come your way, getting those easy passes, and just following the momentum where it takes you. I mean, you think about the thick of the things that he was dealing with. There was a big pack of cars in the second half of this field for a long time there. And you get an opportunity to draft up to some guys, kind of take the runs as they would go at Atlanta or Talladega, Daytona, and make passes that way. You know, you're not sitting here dogfighting like we see the 48 and 18 do. Now the 48 gets really loose coming up off of turn number 4. That's going to allow Paul Hill to get past. But yeah, I mean, it's a good run by him. He was able to get a lot of those passes while he was grouped up with some of these guys. But he's obviously got a very fast car he's able to work with, as now he's closing in on the back of that 48 Tyler Hunter after that mistake.
Yeah, Tyler Hunter now sliding back into 6th position. He's just in front of Austin Call, who sparked that last discussion here. And it looks like Austin Call now going to have to hold off the 58 of Neil Pearson. And as we go on board with our friend from Down Under, Neil Pearson, of course, racing on Monday morning already. He's just behind the 40 of Austin Call. He's going to drift up here to the high side, gets the run, and now gets ready to shove his nose right here to the left quarter panel, and now gets underneath the 40 and gets ready to aim for the 48.
Now, I know I've talked a lot about that 40 car being able to work his way up, but over the last 10 to 15 laps, Neil Pearson has been chasing him down. They've got a long way between them and the next group of cars, and they've been just driving by themselves. But Neil Pearson has been a little bit quicker each time around, and he works his way up into the top 6, trying to get close to a top 5 battle. He's now losing that spot back once again to Austin Call.
Alan, I'm checking in here with Matt Gaskins and Alex Brinson. This battle's been brewing for a while. Watch Gaskins get a close run on the 19, but the 19 all of a sudden able to scurry away almost as soon as he can see the front nose of the 79, and they've got Matt Cox right in between them.
I think Gaskin got the wall coming up off of turn number 4. He's lost a couple of spots as well. If he didn't hit it, he had to check up hard to avoid it. Couldn't quite tell from that angle. Gaskins was up front. He was in 2nd place, chasing down the leaders. Not long after that restart, now sits outside the top 20 in 21st position.
Yeah, now we're working our way to the end of the stage here. And the urgency is going to start picking up real soon here. But now we're starting to see more guys venture to the outside line as they're starting to become a little bit of grip. But, you know, one thing I learned about running pavement compared to dirt is you don't want to be on those seams. Those seams will really upset your car. And, you know, if you can chase that car, if you can run dirt and then bring it to asphalt, you're that much better of a driver on the pavement.
Yeah, but these next-gen cars, they don't have as much of a slip angle as the cars used to have. You know, you used to be able to get the car yawed a little bit and kind of utilize that sidewaysness, you know, that looseness to turn. With these cars, if you overstep that boundary just a little bit, you are in for a tough time. Very likely going to be going around or in the wall like we saw earlier in the race with car number 2. Caught that seam a little bit, got back out of the throttle at an unfortunate time, and caused that car to go around.
Boundaries come before empathy. You can't really care about those around you if you can't hold on to onto your own car. as we see Matt Cox here in the 32 machine. He's now right up against the rear bumper of the 71 of Keith Long. Now Keith Long holding his own here in 15th position. Of course, here we are, race number 1 of the round of 8 at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Dave Regal, Alan Bergen, and Liam Ervig with you here in the Tony Trapasso Memorial Broadcast booth. Not often that all three of us can be in the same place at the same time, but here we are doing a 3-wide broadcast at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Glad to have everybody in with us tonight in the YouTube.com live chat. Amanda Price checking in for a second time, saying let's go, as her boyfriend Sean Rogers out of Kalamazoo, Michigan, leads this piece here on lap number 62. We're working our way toward lap number 80.
Closing in on the end of the first stage here. Only 4 drivers of the top 8 in points look to be ready to get stage points here. That's going to be Sean Rogers, your leader, Paul Hill, Neil Pearson, and Bobby Anderson. Only 4 of your top 8 are in the top 10. We've got Davis and Papineau in 11th and 12th, so they will be trying to catch Cody McCorkle, maybe McConville as well, to try to get at least 1 point here in this stage. However, big name at the tail of this thing, Tane Hodison, struggling in this one so far, setting in 31st position, 13.5 seconds off of the race lead.
Yeah, here we are watching the modern-day Silver Fox come down that back straightaway, and he's going to try to make that inside move. There you see it. These cars, and we're going to have a little bit of a slide job coming out of turn number 1, or 3-4 rather, and down to the tri-oval. Liam, that's what these cars are good for. These cars are really, really racy, especially when the track becomes really, really slick.
Yeah, and I mean, we see these guys getting side by side and almost unable to get away from each other. As now we see the 97, Matt Long, makes a move for the lead up on top of Sean Rogers. He had a huge spout of momentum coming up off of turn number 2. He's going to take that into turn 3. See if he's going to be able to get clear for the race lead coming up off of turn number 4. And yes, he is. New race leader, Matt Long.
Matt Long, our new race leader, while Chris Davis can run. Nope, looks like Chris Davis going to be the only taker down to pit road, as he's going to make the dive down there. Matt Long, your new race leader, just in front of Sean Rogers with about 14 laps to go here in stage number 2. Good Lord. Or stage number 1, I'm sorry. Good Lord. Now I can't even math right. Cody McCorkle won the opening race in the round of 12 at Kansas. Then, of course, Bobby Anderson won at Talladega, and Paul Hill won at the Roval last week. The question is, who's it going to be tonight as we watch the 97 of Matt Long slide just to the high side of the 24 of Richard Pruitt, and now Pruitt staying out of the way as the 97 and the 44 try to make their way around him as we get closer and closer to the end of stage 1.
Now, correct me, was Matt Long the one that you said didn't have the graphic, but was a playoff driver, or was that somebody else?
Nope, that was me being really heavy-handed with the erase button.
So Matt Long, he could lock himself into the championship with this win.
Yes, sir. In fact, while you guys ramble, I'm going to see if I can correct that, because I feel awful about that.
Neil Pearson moves his way up to the outside of Sean Rogers. He's going to try to take away that second spot. He's gotten clear for second. See if he can get down and try to draft up to Matt Long to take away the race lead here. There's 12 laps to go here in stage number 1. Long way to go. This is about 120 miles of the 400 that are scheduled in the first stage. Another 120 in stage number 2. We go all the way to the finish from there.
Are we there yet?
No, Alan. This is NASCAR. It takes a while to get there. We've got a long way to go. There's still 300 miles left to go. And Matt Long is hoping to lead as many of these laps, as many of these miles as he possibly can. But Neil Pearson looks to his outside. He's trying to make it real difficult for him.
There's a little bump drafting going on. But the reason I said that is because you mentioned earlier about fighting in the station wagon. And if all three of us were in the station wagon, we were fighting, they would have to pull that car over, and don't make me pull the car over.
Definitely would. As you see, Chris Custer, he came in, made his pit stop with multiple laps down, and now he's getting one of those back with the fresher tires. 10 laps to go here in stage number 1. Matt Long holds on to the race lead, and now you can see that graphic updated with him in purple as well. Matt Long getting the recognition he has long deserved as a playoff driver. Give Dave a little bit of grief, but
Woof.
Matt Long doing a good job extending that lead over a very strong Neil Pearson, who we've seen work his way up through this field all throughout stage number 1.
Well, you know what? Here's the thing, and I guess I feel awful for it because, you know, Matt Long had spent a long time this season as a bridesmaid and never the bride. It took him a while until he picked up that first W on the season, and then all of a sudden, it's like he found another gear in that car, and, you know, his wins that he has on the season have gotten more and more, let's just say, impressive. First win was at, doing this backwards
Chicago.
here. Yeah, that's right, the Chicago Street Course. And Chicago, when we went there, first off, I know that me personally, I'm not a road course guy. He downloaded the track 90 minutes before green flag and brought home the win.
That's some SVG level stuff right there. Shane's like, all right, I'll drive one of these things for 20 minutes and see what happens.
That's exactly what happened.
Now we've got 7 laps to go here in stage number 1, and that lead has closed down considerably. Here comes Pearson looking down to the inside. Not quite enough, as the momentum of the 97 keeps him out front. Meanwhile, this battle here between Paul Hill and the number 70 of Banks, trying to make things happen. Paul Hill doesn't want to give up another stage point, but the 70 doesn't care.
A little bit of trash talking right now in the YouTube.com live chat. First off, IPW Esports saying, shake and bake, Tyler. Of course, that being Tyler Hutter in the 48. Then Wesley Napier checking in with his real name, we assume, saying Austin Call, maybe not the best driver in his opinion, said he couldn't pass Tyler Hutter, so he doored him into the wall to pass him. Happens. It happens.
It happens.
And here comes
Tyler
Hutter
Hutter.
coming into the pits. Now he's likely going to go a lap down with this, but he's got to get in there before the pits close. Coming to 4 laps to go here in the stage this next time around, and Neil Pearson once again trying the inside lane. A little bit of lap traffic with Chris Custer just in front of these guys. He's a little bit quicker, but definitely going to affect the air on those cars. As now Pearson trying the inside once again. Man from Southwest Australia trying to get it done on the southern side of the racetrack here.
I would imagine he does, but the thing is right now, as far as the stage goes, the sands of the hourglass are starting to run out for Neil Pearson, especially if he wants to win that stage. Now, Neil Pearson, when he first started in the series, I bet you dollars to donuts, it was a bit of a learning curve to go from straight road courses to ovals.
Here comes Pearson down to the inside once again. Hoddison comes off the wall just a little bit, causes the 97 to have to check up just a hair as they come to 2 laps to go at the end of the stage. 1 car length separating your top 2. Kane Hoddison, one of your playoff drivers, going a lap down as here comes a big move from Pearson all the way down to the bottom as Long tries to run it right next to the wall.
They're going to drag race down the Nellis straightaway into turn number 3. Pearson hauling it underneath as he now tries to secure away the lead, but Long with too good of a run here coming out of 4. He holds it steady and comes back to the start-finish line on lap number 80. This is the final lap of stage number 1.
And I think Pearson did about all he could there. That was an aggressive move to go all the way down to the bottom. But that outside lane for Matt Long worked incredibly well coming up off of turn number 4, and I would imagine some guys are going to be looking at that at the end of the race.
Here we go, final turn of stage number 1. It looks like Matt Long going to lead us out of the turn 4 as we head back to the start-finish line. He takes the apron here, crossing the start-finish line, and Matt Long captures the green and white checkered flag for the end of stage number 1. He's followed by Neil Pearson, Sean Rogers, Paul Hill, Dylan Banks, Bobby Anderson, Mikey Mac McConville, Austin Call, Matt Cox, and Eric Papineau.
Like 6 out of our 8 drivers able to get stage points here. Matt Long gets the stage win. Dramatic fashion, I would say. Stage 1 showed a lot of comers and goers.
It definitely did. Let's see if we can... We're going to wait just a few moments because I've already been scolded more than once for pulling guys down too early for their end-of-stage interviews. But at least I can line them up, see where they're at. Where is the 90s? There he is. I'll tell you what, guys. What a great finish to stage 1 here.
Absolutely. You know, Leon, stage 1 saw a little bit of everything. Comers, goers. We had 3 wide racing. That third line starting to come in. But what are your thoughts as we get ready to, once we get the caution out of the way and go rocking and rolling in stage number 2?
Well, I think we're going to see more of the same. I think we saw a lot of clean and green, but exciting close racing. I think these guys are going to see a little bit more of that. But as the field is kind of separated out, probably going to see a little bit more separation here quicker after the restart.
Definitely is Matt Long, the first guy on pit road. And the right sides are going to go up, down, and the left side are going to go up. 13-second pit stops, Dave. I mean, that's unheard of. Think about back in the day when pit stops were almost, a minute.
I haven't even been alive during those times.
Look, I can't even go get 4 tires and an oil change done at Jiffy Lube.
And with us now in the Tony Trapasso Memorial Broadcast booth, this is the voice of Matt Long. Hey, Matt, it's Dave up in the booth. You got me?
Yeah, what's up, guys?
Buddy, listen, great move to get up here and lead the lead stage number 1. I mean, how does the racetrack feel tonight? It looks like everybody is out for blood.
Yeah, let all those guys go up there and burn their stuff up, and then, 60-lap run. Figured it'd play out like that, and had the good long run pace. Got a little tight there, but looking good. I think Neil's going to be a tough challenge today. Looks like me and him so far, so we'll see what happens.
All right, man. Well, listen, good luck the rest of the way. Hopefully we'll see you here toward Victory Lane later tonight. And listen, do Atlanta proud, my man.
Yes, sir. Let's do it.
Well, fellas, that, of course, the voice of Matt Long out of Atlanta, Georgia. As he has marched his way forward, I'll tell you what, he's got more of a flame on him than General Sherman did, that's for sure. You're going to leave me hang on the historical fact?
Yeah, we're just going to move on from that. You see Chris Custer's the race leader and should be getting the wave around.
Thanks for attending history class with Uncle Dave.
I skipped enough school.
Wait, we're attending history class?
I don't know, Alan. I skipped school. I skipped school to go to the races. That's where we are right now in Las Vegas Motor Speedway, getting ready to start stage number 2. Long holds on to the race lead over Neil Pearson, Sean Rogers, Paul Hill. Playoff drivers in the top 4, and then Dylan Banks, Bobby Anderson, another playoff driver, Mike McConville, Austin Cole, Cody McCorkle, and Matt Cox. Round out your top 10. Should be getting the 1 to green this time around. And now, Alan, we've seen how stage 1 played out. It was pretty clean and green. Are you expecting more of that?
Well, now we've figured out what the car's got in it, right? So I figured that halfway through, that's when we're gonna start getting these guys cranked up to crazy, as we're gonna have roughly, we're gonna come back to green at lap 87. So we're gonna start getting a little more amped up here, a little more, doing things we don't normally do with race cars type things. But nonetheless, Matt Long and, like you said, Neil Pearson, the modern day Silver Fox, going to be on the front row. And Liam, coming down that backstretch, there's just something about this field that just does this stage racing so good.
They definitely do, and we've got 27 drivers back on the lead lap after that caution flag. These drivers getting the wave around all the way back to Chris Custer. Stayed out under the first caution of the day. Had to make a green flag pit stop. Tane Hodison, Chad Sanner, Ron Fitting, Steve Herring, Matt Gaskins, John Wilco, Richard Pruitt, Matt Mack, and Diego Rodriguez, Dalton Mobley, all off the lead lap. Mobley and Rodriguez put it up on the hauler. That pace car is ready to make that hard left turn into the pits. We are ready to start stage number 2. 75 laps to go before the green and white checker falls again. Green flag is out. Matt Long is going to lead him down, and he gets a hefty restart over the 58 of Neil Pearson. Comes Sean Rogers trying to fight to the inside, and he's got a push from Dylan Banks coming through turns 1 and 2.
As we head on down the backstretch, it looks like the 70 of Dylan Banks going to hold on to the low side. He's got a little bit of a push here from the 6 of Paul Hill. They suddenly go single file, but still side by side is the 1 and the 18. That's Mikey Mac McConville, and the 18 of Bobby Anderson.
Yeah, doing it 2 by 2, Noah's Ark style. Bobby Anderson looks like he's being hung out to dry. Kind of like Mama's laundry on the clothesline.
Side lane seems to be a little bit quicker right now, but with everybody running down there, the checkups, the accordion effect is definitely going to play a factor here. As now Bobby Anderson works to the outside of Paul Hill, going to try to take that momentum to the outside. As here comes on the outside, Sean Rogers for the race lead here on lap number 88.
All season long, we've seen Sean Rogers and Matt Long going at it like crazy. I mean, I swear, and this is no stretch of the imagination, every time we say Sean Rogers, it feels like we also say Matt Long somewhere in the next paragraph or sentence.
Two have been virtually inseparable throughout the course of this season and throughout the course of this playoff. Sean Rogers in that number 44 looking strong. He's going to have a mirror full of Matt Long and Neil Pearson fairly soon here, I would have to imagine. And look at the gaggle of cars racing for 5th place on back.
Side by side they go. Watch Austin Call here in the middle. Oh my, there's the 6 of Paul Hill. He's the meat in that sandwich. Holds on to that position here, and that's for 7th as Austin Call works the high side. Down low go the 70 of Dylan Banks, the 6 of Paul Hill, and now the 1 of Mikey Mac McConville.
Mikey Mac doing a pretty good job up there, sitting inside the top 10 in that number 1 Lincoln Park machine. Currently getting passed by the 32 of Cox, but got himself a really good job sitting up in this top 10 for most of the day.
Oh.
Look at how close together this entire field is.
Liam, I wish I had a teleprompter because we could circle a lot of these guys. But, right there at Mike McConville and Dylan Banks, you're not getting any closer to that. And even Matt Cox there in that 32 car, you're not getting any closer than these guys are right now. As, Mike McConville's nearing the edge and he's about to break.
Yeah. Trying to get himself one step closer to that top 5.
Paul Hill, the Dent Slayer, number 6, running down the back straightaway, trying to put some time on and catch, and not only catch but pass Austin Call and that number 40 driver out of Texas, and normally runs on Sunday Cup League on Monday nights, Liam, and I'm sure he puts on a show over there also.
We see a lot of these drivers here in from one league or another, always crossing over into other leagues that we cover here on Sim Racing Media. And we'll get to it later on this evening, but we've got a lot of programming notes to update everybody on tonight. As of course, this week Sim Racing Media going to be kind of split out, as everybody from across the country is going to be descending into the land of Ron DeSantis. And wow, look at this. Watch Ken Ron here in the 33 hold himself over top of Jeff Carson. They are side by side. Almost the entire second half of this field is doubled up and nearly 3 wide. There's the 48. Oh, what a mess we have.
3 wide, a couple of rows of it getting into turn 3. Guys given plenty of space, but you still do not want to get close enough for contact here. I think 3 wide coming up off of turn number 4. Again, the 45 slides up the racetrack, trying to push on the bottom side, that 84.
I don't know how you spell trouble, but I think this is how.
Truble.
Well, the 48 of Tyler Hutter now stuck between the 84 of Logan Giesbrecht and the 34 on the high side. Good God. Finally, this mess sorts itself out. Everybody can breathe a sigh of relief for the time being as we go back to normal side-by-side racing. Watch Larry Miles, our neighbor from north of the border, here in the 57. Just in front of Ron Fitting. Now he lets the 93 of Tane Hodison underneath him. Sean Rogers, with what I assume to be a connection issue, now flashes back to the race lead.
And that is so nerve-wracking for these drivers. But here's the thing, Dave. You guys are going to Miami here in days time. I'm going to Volusia Speedway for round 1 of the 2025 World of Outlaws campaign.
Oh, caution's out for the second or third time today. Second time for cause.
Trying to find out why.
Like Matt Macklin with the save of the season so far, potentially.
Let's see if we can find what happened with Mackin here. Watch Mackin in the 01 just behind the 54. The blue and white. Oh, no. They're wrecking in front of him. Oh.
That's where he got the off track that we noticed. Caution was already out at that point. It's a bright blue car.
Let's see if we can find it.
Oh, coming up off of turn number 4, just in front.
Nobody wrecked.
Oh, it was I can't find his number right now.
Trying to find who brought this out.
That one. The blue one right behind the 84. Camo
blue
car.
one right behind the... Oh, that's the 9.
That is the 9. Jeff Carson. Jeff Carson got big time sideways coming up off of turn number 4.
Let's see here. Oh, my.
That might have been more precautionary. Assuming that all that contact was going to bring somebody up into the wall. But that's going to bring out another set of pit stops here. Once again, that's going to set us up with just about 60 laps to go until the end of the stage. So these guys are all going to be able to make it on fuel. Those tires are going to be screaming and crying by the end of this thing.
You know, we see that more often than not here in some of our leagues. I mean, right now we've got the, let's see, Popino's going to stay out, and those are going to be the tires that are screaming.
Well, if he gets a quick caution, he might be in good shape. You know, if he gets a caution after 15, 20 laps, if he comes into pit and nobody else does, he's got the fresher tires. He's played the strategy well. But we saw how it worked for Chris Custer and Chris Davis in stage number 1. They pitted or elected not to pit at that lap 20 caution. They had to come into pit before the end of the stage.
Well, I guess we'll just have to strap in and see what happens here as the iRacing.com pace car gets ready to bring us back onto the front stretch. I want to thank everybody for tuning in tonight. We're going to step aside and pay some bills quickly here on Sim Racing Media. I want to thank all of you for tuning in. Dave Regal, Alan Bergen, and Liam Ervig with you here at Las Vegas Motor Speedway.
With the Butt Kicker Gamer 2, what you see and what you hear is what you feel. Butt Kicker. The future is feeling.
The most realistic online racing sim ever made. This is iRacing. Detailed laser scan tracks, fully dynamic real world cars, and over 50 series to choose from. 6 online world championships offering over $400,000 in annual prizes. This is the original esport racing game. This is iRacing.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series in officially licensed cars engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Break. Dave Regal and Liam Ervig with you as the green flag flies here, and we're immediately under caution again. And I hear race radio lighting up like a Christmas tree.
Quick start,
Smoke,
quick
but no fire. Can't find where anybody's supposed to be. I don't see anybody dead.
Could be Ryan Samuelson.
Looking. Sounds like Ryan Samuelson.
I was going to say, it sounds like Samuelson had an issue on that restart, either spun the tires or maybe shifted poorly.
Oh my.
Yeah, he muddy shifted that thing.
That's no way to be.
getting a radio report that he's working with a new shifter right now, and that could be something to do with that. However, that car is still rolling. It's a very good sign. Usually a money shift destroys that transmission, and your car is not moving anymore.
Well, I guess he'll find out when we go back green flag racing what he's got left in that thing after it just spit out nuts and bolts all over the racetrack.
Yeah, for anybody who may not be familiar with the term money shift, we call it a money shift because it's the one that costs you the most money. Usually it's on an H pattern shifter. You slide into the wrong slot and you end up downshifting. On these sequential shifters, you can kind of do it the same way if you're used to an H pattern, but so you inadvertently shift it down and your revs go through the roof. That'll blow that motor and that can destroy the transmission. So keep an eye on Ryan Samuelson. So far, it looks like that car is going to be able to continue.
Ryan Samuelson is one of the drivers that, over the years, and I mean, I've known him for a long time. He's out here battling every week. He's not always the most successful driver, as we can see tonight, who, buys the big one. But, he's definitely one of the hardest working drivers in SNN, for at least the last, I'm going to say 4 years that I've been associated with these folks. And a lot of these drivers, Liam, have been together for, more than, a season or two. I mean, me personally, I've known most of these guys for about 4 years and, raced with them, hung out with them. These guys know one another so well.
They really do. I mean, this league has been going on for years, week in and week out. We've had so many of the same names, the same competitors. Got each other down to a T, basically. The exception of some of these newer additions. But figure it out.
But you know what? Some of the new additions here feel like they've been here for a long time. Only those of us who have been around this long recognize the names as being old or new. And I mean, for some of these guys, I mean, they put so much time in. I mean, 1,000 laps of practice before even, letting the green flag fly on a Sunday night. Had to apply a little bit of lidocaine to the old knee joint there. It turns out that as you get older, the less that you can do when you're a big dude. Spent the day in Jim Thorpe, Pennsylvania yesterday with Honey Buns. We went up there and wandered around, and then yesterday afternoon on 105.5 WMGH, I brought some parade action, some small town Halloween parade action to the airwaves. That was kind of exciting.
Speaking of small town Halloween, grew up just next to Anoka, Minnesota, which claims, self-proclaimed, Halloween capital of the world. Do a lot of festivities around there. They've got a big parade that they do every year, and it's a good time. Definitely a good time to get out with the family, enjoy some fall colors, enjoy some fall festivals, and maybe get a little spooks in there too. These guys are getting down to business here. There's no apple orchards or corn mazes for them. There's just 160 laps to go at Las Vegas Motor Speedway.
When we go back green flag racing, it's going to be Dylan Banks, Alex Princeton, Sean Rogers, Austin Call, Paul Hill. That's your top 5. Matt Long, Tyler Hunter, Keith Long, Chris Davis, and Tanner Marty, they make up the rest of your top 10. A little bit of a love tap there from the 44. He might have gotten carried away getting the car warmed up. That's who we're going to be on board with when we go back green flag racing. Sean Rogers out of Kalamazoo, Michigan.
His car makes that hard left turn. Well, it's just listening for the gas.
Running through the gears is Sean Rogers as he takes off here in second position. Looking back, though, he's got a lot of distance between himself and Matt Long. Will go on board with Long now as he gets himself wound up coming out of fourth gear, and here comes fifth. So Matt Long getting into 5th gear before turn 3. We're going to watch him get nice and warmed up as they all came down on lap number 98 after
Here
another
comes Tyler
quick caution.
Hunter with the run.
Tyler Hunter
Right.
all over the back end of the 97.
Yeah, it looked like he was going to, at least looking at the timing and scoring, like he was going to try to make a move. But here comes Chris Davis up to the outside of that 74, trying to do what Chris Davis did in the Iron Bowl, get a very unlikely win right up next to the border. See what I did there?
I did. I saw what you did.
Yeah.
You should work in marketing.
Wow. Yeah, he's doing pretty good, though. He's up 24 spots, up in 3rd place. Now we take a look at Tyler Hunter. We saw him fall back at stage number 1. Up in the top 5, going to try to keep himself there and march towards the front.
Here we go. Let's watch Paul Hill now side by side with the 19 of Alex Princeton. I told you earlier, Princeton is one of those drivers that we're going to see quietly work his way up, and here he is right now, up 26 positions, running in 7th.
Great job there. Alex Princeton in that 19 machine. And a little bit different colors this week. Usually see him in the Caribou Coffee machine.
Right you are. Caribou Coffee is delicious, by the way. It wasn't until I saw him with that paint scheme that I gave it a try.
Is it around you now?
No, I get it by the bag at the grocery store.
Oh, okay. Yeah, they've got coffee shops around here. They're on par with Starbucks.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I had to, you know what? Speaking of Starbucks, had my very first PSL the other day.
So,
And I didn't.
pumpkin spice latte. Yeah, buddy, you're joining the train.
But listen, so here's the thing. I get told by someone that I should try this sometime. And oh, wow.
Yeah, sorry, close quarters there with the 17
Good
getting caught up
gravy.
in between the 10. That almost looked like the situation that caused the crash between Truex, Chase Elliott, and Tyler Reddick today, coming up off of turn number 4, that resulted in Reddick's 45 being barrel rolled once.
A little bit of an oopsie.
Yeah.
Just a minor oopsie. Look at Chris Claude up here in the top 10.
What a send he just made down there on the bottom. He
Yeah,
said,
he
you guys
did.
are going to rock the top side? I'm going to take all of this open space down here. He's going to make a couple of passes here coming up off of turn number 4, put himself up into the top 10. He gets around Alex Princeton and Keith Long up on the outside, and he's trying to make another move, but just in front of him, Chad Sander cuts off that momentum.
Good Lord, Chris Claude. Oh, my. Up here in 9th position, side by side with Alex Princeton. This may be the time that Chris Claude says, you know what, I'm going to throw caution to the wind. It's time for me to get the win, as he is side by side with the 19. Oh, wow. I'll tell you what, you know what, I got to get away from him quickly, because with my luck there, I'll be watching Chris and bad things will happen. Let's take a peek back here at the 88 of Michael Witt. We go on board with him just behind the Tanner Marty machine, and they are in nothing but traffic. I mean, you know, it seems like some drivers just are attracted to crowds.
I know these guys that are sitting 3rd, 4th, 5th in line, they're just screaming, just go! Why aren't you passing him? But, I mean, these cars are, they're set up to run pretty equal, and they are so draggy. When you get this side draft, it's tough to complete a pass. These guys stay packed up together coming up off of these restarts. Really makes it difficult for these guys to get any separation and really use this momentum. Now, once again, a look to 3 wide of Samuelson. It's like he's able to recover fairly well after that missed shift, that poor shift that he did that caused the most recent caution of the day. Oh, crash! Keith Long into the wall, the 17. Also involved in that. Bobby Anderson stops on the track to avoid hitting. Eric Papito, a playoff driver, caught up in the wall there, along with Keith Long. How about that pumpkin spice latte?
Oh my! Well, you know what? We'll talk about that pumpkin spice latte in just a moment. Let's watch this. Oh. I mean, and Chris, what did I just say? I was watching Chris Claude, and I was afraid bad things might happen to him, and instead they happened around him. Here's the 17. And the 71 just gets up a little bit into him and then gets collected.
I mean, 17, he was there. He was at the door. You see Bobby Anderson slamming on the brakes. Avoid contact.
If there's any better time to get on the binders, that was it.
It's just two cars getting into the same spot. They both don't fit. Caution out for the 5th time today. Going to see a lot of pit stops up front, but Matt Long stays out.
Yeah, two cars cannot occupy the same place at the same time. But about that PSL, so Friday, you know, I was feeling kind of lazy. I didn't feel like getting out of the truck to go into Wawa and grab a coffee. So I thought, you know what, I'll hit Starbucks next door. Starbucks, of course, is what the white girls call it. And so I pull up and you know, Honey Bun, she's usually trying to tell me that she drinks all these fancy things. Like she likes the Pecan Crunch Oat Milk Latte, which, by the way, I did try a sip of this morning. Delicious. But the pumpkin spice latte mixed with some ginger snap cookies, oh my God, it was like I met Jesus.
It's like Dave is going to be spending numerous dollars every day on coffee now.
Yeah, I'm used to like $2.79 at Wawa, but instead I'm going to spend $7 on a latte.
It's a good call.
Quality over quantity.
There's a Starbucks on the corner of every New York block for a reason.
Yeah, you're never far away from it. You can't swing a dead cat without hitting a Starbucks in New York. Of course, down here I've got one that's literally 150 yards from where I work, so this could get dangerous for my heart.
Oh, I've literally got one that's across the street from the parking lot of my apartment. It's not great, but it is so great. My wallet doesn't think it's great.
I may be tempted to get the app.
Oh yeah, it's already happened.
Now, something you may have to try when we're together this week is we're going to have to go to Wawa, and you're going to have to get the Gobbler. The Gobbler is a Thanksgiving Day sandwich. It is turkey, stuffing, cranberry sauce, gravy, all shoved into a hoagie.
Interesting.
It's delicious. And I'm going to be having one for... Oh, no, wait. No, never mind. I have leftovers. I'll be eating leftovers tomorrow for lunch. Just kidding. Went to PJ Wellahan's and wound up with leftovers. Couldn't finish it.
Leftovers are the best.
Especially when it's wings and tater tots. You can't go wrong with tater tots.
No, you really can't.
Taking a look here at the top of the pile, looks like your top three, Matt Long, Chris Claude, and Chris Claude is in P2. That just made my brain short circuit. Matt Long, Chris Claude, and Tanner Marty, your top three. They all came down at lap number 98. Noah Hamilton on 103, Tane Hodison on 82. Take a look at these pit strategy numbers, and there's not one that's got the same number of laps on the tires in the top 10.
Well, they're going to double up now, and we've got multiple different strategies up at the front of this field.
I was also told that it's Starbucks over everything. I have yet to call it Starbucks personally. I'm only using it as a euphemism at the moment, but I'm afraid over time that I may start calling it Starbucks. Might even start drinking out of a paper straw one day.
I don't know. I just call it the Sturbs. Gonna hit up the Sturbs. It's right there, you know.
You know what? The Sturbs makes it sound much more manly. I think I'm going to stick with that. I'll make sure I'll have to run that past management and see if that's okay.
Yeah, if you do it fast enough, people might think you're going to see Disturbed, which is a really cool concert. Yeah, anyways, Matt Long continues to lead. New base in second place, Chris Claude. Tanner Marty, Mr. Hamilton up in fourth place. Pace car's off, green flag is in the air. Chris Claude does not get going, and neither does the fifth place car of Tane Hodison.
Nope, and now Chris Claude and Tane Hodison in charge of basically holding up the rest of the field as we get back underway. Green flag racing here on lap 121. 45 to go here in stage 2 as Chris Claude now drifts to the high side of the racetrack. I'm starting to see more cars moving up there. There must be some kind of grip.
The more cars run up there, the more rubber you get laid down, the better they're going to feel up there. It's a big sideways moment there for Sean Rogers coming up off of turn number 4. He's going to lose some spots. But yeah, as these guys start to rubber down the top side, it's going to grip more, it's going to feel better, it's going to kill the tires less and less. As now, Hamilton got himself a little bit loose there. And crash in the back! Trouble, turn 2, big one!
Oh!
Like Tyler is in there.
That's
Chris
a problem.
Buster. 48 car was caught up in that.
Timing and scoring is running away from me. I'm quickly trying to scroll upward, and timing and scoring is having none of my BS, if you will. Let's go this away.
John Wilco might have been the first one to go around there.
Let's see. The 66. The 19 bumps against the 81.
Oh, it was the 40th call.
Oh. Let's see what happens here. By the way, it has been declined by upper management. I am not allowed to call it Sturbs. Oh, the 48 tags the 40. Oh, and the 94 finishes the job there. Let's see what it looks like from the perspective of the 66 of Chris Custer. Oh, good Lord. That one, I could feel that one.
Nowhere to go, nothing he could do. It's kind of an innocent bystander in that one. And there was a weird spot where I believe the 94 and 48 hooked together. When that happened, it launched them down the racetrack in a sort of unnatural way. That kind of I would say that kind of caught up in a couple extra cars in that. But you slow it down, watch when they get together, they kind of hook together in a weird way. And
oh, yeah. Hey, that may have been a little bit of iRacing error, but they definitely became hooked like glue for a minute.
It just set 48 down with the 94 right in front of Custer. Took out some really, really good cars here today. Matt Long's going to hold out of the race, or race lead over Tanner Marty. Third place is Tane Hodison. Got Noah Hamilton and Chris Claude back to fifth place after that restart. About 40 laps to go here at the end of the stage, or till the end of the stage.
Matt Long, Tanner Marty, Tane Hodison, Noah Hamilton, Chris Claude, Dylan Banks, Mike McConville, Ron Fitting, Logan Giesbrecht, and Chris Davis. They will be your top 10. Chris Claude holding on to the top 10 as he rides right now in 5th position. Proud of him. Honey Bun's deciding that it's time to go to bed for the evening. Thanks to the fun folks over at NyQuil. I want to thank everybody for tuning in tonight here in the YouTube.com live chat. Wesley Napier. Tyler would be doing better if his spotter remembered the stage 1 break. Yeah, about that. Nick Smith checking in on Amanda. Looks like Wesley Napier deciding that Tyler pooped his pants. And I don't know who John is, but I am not John. And neither is Liam. You've got Dave Regal and Liam Ervig with you here in the Tony Trapasso Memorial Broadcast booth as we're working race number 1 of the round of 8 in the 2024 edition of the SNN Cup Series playoffs. Liam, you picked a good night to come in here since it's round of 8 night.
Yeah, it seems like a great time to be around here. We're going to see if one of these drivers can lock themselves in to the round of 4 to that championship race at Phoenix. A couple extra weeks of preparation.
Speaking of preparation, how long does it take you to pack for a trip?
Me? Oh, geez, not very. Depends on how I want to do it, you know. I mean, like the laundry that I have to do beforehand, that'll be a lengthy process. I figure out the week before. But when it comes to day of or the day before, not very. A couple pairs of shorts, pants, underwear, just, you know, enough clothes to get through.
Yeah, I'm kind of a throw and go myself. As long as there's clean laundry, I can make it happen. I went over and got all the TSA approved, soap sizes and things like that today. Got the wet ones just for, germ purposes.
Rock on.
Personally, cannot wait to hit South Beach and find some fantastic cigars.
Kind of thinking we should maybe go to a different beach from last year, though. We can actually bring alcohol.
That's true. That is true. Instead of having to hide it like the degenerates that we are. But speaking of degenerates, Matt Long takes off here under the green flag, lap 127. He's going to have Tane Hodison in tow side by side with Tanner Marty and Noah Hamilton now in the 45. They battle it out. Chris Claude running in 6th position. He's going to have to hold off Mikey Mac McConville. We go on board with McConville now. And McConville looks like he's got the one car figured out. He's made those adjustments that he had to here during the race. As conditions on the racetrack have changed gracefully tonight, we take a look here on the right-hand side. Track's starting to heat up a little bit now with 91 degrees on the asphalt. The 74 and the 10 side by side, and Liam, we're starting to see Chris Claude kind of fall back into, let's just say, his normal range of race cars. But he had a really strong segment here in stage 2.
Doing phenomenal here. Now Dylan Banks. He's got Tane Hodison up to his outside. Tane Hodison, not somebody that we talked a whole heck of a lot about in the early part of this race. Caught towards the back of the field, ended up going a lap down just before the end of stage number 1. Now he runs in 3rd place, trying to make a move on the outside of Dylan Banks, and here comes Noah Hamilton looking to the inside. Thought maybe for a moment about making it 3 wide, thinks better of it. Going to fall back into 4th place as this battle for second continues to rage on, and I think Matt Long and Tane Hodison might have just scraped that wall a little bit coming up off turn 4.
Just a little bit, and just enough now for Matt Long to have slowed down, and he's starting to fall into the clutches of the 70 of Dylan Banks. Dylan Banks and the 93 of Tane Hodison all over the rear bumper of the 97. They've got to decide right now, do they want to go after Matt Long or do they want to fight each other? It looks like for the time being, they're going to just fight each other here behind him. What that's going to do, though, is allow Matt Long to gap them ever so slightly as Long drifts down onto the apron. They go 3 wide behind him. Mike McConville takes the apron, and now the 70 of Dylan Banks was the meat in that sandwich. He shoots past Matt Long.
What a move through the middle by the 70 of Dylan Banks up into the wall against Noah Hamilton, but he just shot out of a cannon coming up off of turn number 2. Left that 97 in the dust, and now here comes Tane Hodison trying to take advantage of that newly gained 2nd place as Mike McConville is up into 3rd place. A big shakeup at the front of this field here on lap 132.
As we work lap 132, Eric Papineau just laid down fast time here, 29.89 seconds, beating it out by 100th while Dylan Banks takes over the race lead. Dylan Banks passing Tane Hodgson just a few moments ago. All of a sudden, things have changed drastically at the top of this race tonight.
And tried to get down to the inside to take away the race lead. That outside lane just too strong. Dylan Banks able to hold on to the lead. Now here comes McConville looking to the top of turns 1 and 2, a little bit wider than we see anybody else run. See what kind of run he can get coming up off of the corner as here comes Hodgson up to the top side for the race lead into turn 3.
He's not going to be put to bed early tonight as Hodgson is now. He looks for the race lead. He secures it right now as far as timing and scoring is concerned. He has it crossing the start-finish line. Tane Hodgson, Dylan Banks, and Mike McConville have now made this battle for the lead into a 3-car race.
Sean Rogers, Chris Davis trying to make it 4 and 5. Let's not forget about Matt Long. He may have lost the lead, a little bit of momentum in that one corner, but he hasn't let these guys get away.
You've got to be able to hold your ground, and right now Mike McConville holding it steady. He's definitely not built on the sand like the rest of Cape May, New Jersey, that's for sure. As we work lap number 135, the 70 of Dylan Banks looking on from behind. We go on board with him. We see McConville drifting down in front of him, not necessarily throwing the block, but definitely slowing up the 70's progress, as now he's going to watch them drag race down the Nellis straightaway and into turn 3.
See, what McConville's trying to do is get slower in the middle of the corner so he can cut down the racetrack and get a later apex. That helps him to straighten out the exit, run a shorter distance, but he's not yanking on the wheel while he's getting on the throttle, so that helps that car on corner exit.
We're going to go on board here with Mike McConville from his helmet cam, and we can see just how he's able to boogie around this racetrack. And we see he's not really fighting this thing at all. A little bit of wheel slip coming out of 4.
Now those tires are doing a lot of work, but with these 18-inch wide tires compared to the 15 that the Xfinity cars use, you can afford to slide them a little bit more. They're not going to, they're not going to leave underneath your race car. You can put a little bit more pressure. You can put a little bit more punishment to these tires.
Mike McConville takes over the race lead for the first time tonight. He qualified P9. Mama Mac going to be watching here in the YouTube.com live chat. Mama Mac, your little boy leads this piece right now as we drift back here to Neil Pearson, who again is one of these drivers that's lucky enough to watch the battle between the 70 and the 93. Now the 70 takes P2 away and goes single file in front of Tane Hodgson for the time being. There's still a mess back here deeper in the field. As, my goodness, let's take a look here at Ron Fitting. The meat in this 3-wide sandwich. Watch the 18 of Bobby Anderson. They nearly make contact coming out of 4 back onto the front stretch. That disturbs the air in front of the 17 as we cross the start-finish line. But the 17 of Eric Papineau able to hold on tight.
Almost a little bit of contact there between Fitting and Papineau. Papineau's been one of the fastest cars on the racetrack these last couple laps around. He did put down the fastest lap of the race early on in the show. Early, but just a couple of laps ago with a 29.89. Back in the pack, we know he's got speed, but that Meineke machine is going to have a little bit more work to do if he wants to get some stage points in the next 25 laps.
Ron Fitting holding on to P15 for the time being. He qualified in 13th, so he's not far out from where he belongs, at least as far as time goes. We take a look at the 44 of Sean Rogers, just underneath the 74 of Chris Davis, and the 93 of Tane Hodgson. Hodgson has faded back here into 4th position. Neil Pearson, though, he's got P3 under control, while Dylan Banks is assaulting Mike McConville, getting underneath and taking the lead away from Mikey Mack.
Great job there. He's going to be able to get clear, take that lead back. Can McConville try to pull a little bit of a crossover? He's going to move back down to the inside through turns 3 and 4. Dives it down in there, but that outside lane working a little bit better for Dylan Banks in the 70.
Dylan Banks, Mike McConville, and Neil Pearson, they're your top 3 for the time being. Usually we try to be watching elsewhere on the racetrack, but good Lord, right now that's where the good battle is. We take a quick peek back here in the field where Ron Fitting is just underneath Richard Pruitt in the 24. The 88 right now of Michael Witt and Cody McCorkle in front of him in the 82 are making a lot of ground up on the 17 of Eric Papineau.
Did a good job. These guys staying side by side now as Papineau's going to have to fall back in line behind Cody McCorkle. Kind of run he can get. He's got a little bit of a draft, looks down to the inside, gets some clean air on the front of that car, but McCorkle is going to cover a little bit later of an apex. Now you see that causes Papineau to have to slide up the racetrack a little bit with the dirtier air.
Got to keep an eye on things as Sean Rogers here works just underneath the 74 of Chris Davis. It's hard to decide where we should be watching. There's so much going on the racetrack from top to bottom. Tane Hodison on the 93 battling it out with Matt Long. Dylan Banks now leading Neil Pearson by about 0.2 of a second. Paul Hill and Noah Hamilton exchanging positions. There's Noah Hamilton in the 45. We've not had one quiet moment on the racetrack all evening.
Oh, up into the wall goes the 45, Noah Hamilton.
That's not going to be good for anybody.
It off the wall. Doesn't look like it's going to hurt him too much, but it's going to fall all the way outside of the top 10.
Somebody's got to make a move here as Tane Hodison starts to get right up behind the 44. We say it again. The 44 and the 93 of Tane Hodison going at it. I told you, these two drivers are never far away from one another.
They really are. And up at the front of this field, trying to race for a top 5 spot just behind Sean Rogers in 5th place. As both are going to want to move up to the front, but when it comes down to just them two, there's nobody more to pass. Be interesting to see him race it out.
Tane Hodison right now holding on to 6th position. He looks at the rear bumper of the 44 of Sean Rogers, while side by side are Chris Davis, oh my, and the 1 of Mike McConville. Let's go on board with Sean Rogers. Oh, all of a sudden Rogers right in the middle here. He takes it 3 wide. How are they going to hold on to this?
Conville up on the top side. Doesn't want to give it up quite yet. He's going to get back clear for 3rd place. But Sean Rogers not going to let that one go. Now he moves up to the top side. Going to try to find a little bit different of a line. See what that momentum can bring him. Coming up off of turn 4. Sideways is the 1 of McConville. That's going to allow Rogers to get back up there. And look at Matt Long going all the way to the bottom to try to take away 4th place. He's going to get that pass done.
Get her done, he does. Matt Long now sets his sights right here on Sean Rogers as Rogers is in the crosshairs of Atlanta Georgia's Matt Long as he is burning up through the race pack. Good Lord. I'll tell you what, Matt Long is one of these drivers that you can never count out no matter where he is in a race. I mean, as we look deeper here, as we work, lap 149, I mean, he has yet to even think about giving up or backing off.
That is not even in his vocabulary at this stage in the game. He is moving forward. He wants to get as many spots as he possibly can. He wants to lead this race. I mean, as does everybody else, but at 97, he's been out front for a good portion of this thing so far. He wants to get back there. Right up next to the wall through turns 3 and 4. That gave him a huge run down the front straightaway, closed in on the back of Sean Rogers in the 44, but nowhere to really go with that. He's going to get himself another run coming up off of turn number 2. We'll see if he takes that high, wide, and handsome line through 3 and 4. No, he's going to dive it all the way to the bottom now. Sean Rogers through the middle is going to have a little bit of an advantage.
Dylan Banks, your race leader here in the 70s, trying to hold off Neil Pearson on the high side. And we've seen this time and time again this season. Pistons, rods, and dad bods cheering on Paul Hill.
Neil Pearson moves down to the inside, trying to take away the race lead, but here comes the 70 up on the middle lane, coming up off of turn number 4. Gets a little bit loose coming up off the wall, but he's going to keep that race lead. continue to get a little bit more of a gap over the 58 machine behind him.
All of a sudden, the 70 of Dylan Banks getting the run that he's been waiting for all night long finally gets around the 58 of Neil Pearson. And Pearson, he's not going to be angry. I mean, he's not going to drive like he's mad. He knows that opportunity window is going to open again. As we take a look deeper back in the field, we just heard from Pistons, Rods, and Dad Bods. We check in here on Paul Hill, up 8 positions, running in 7th right now, just alongside of Chris Davis, who's up 21 positions. And now, after starting in 27th, runs in 6th.
Pretty good job there. We saw him on the alternate strategy in stage number 1. Didn't really work out well for him as the race for the lead heating up once again. Pearson keeps trying that inside at turns 3 and 4, but I just don't think there's enough space down there to make it happen. The run on the outside a little strong. Chris Davis, like you said, up 21 spots. Trying to get into the top 5 as he's right behind Bobby Anderson. Doing a good job of recovering from going a lap down early.
Deeper back in the field, here's Tanner Marty alongside of Ron Fitting as Marty rides the high line. He's going to look just over top of Ron Fitting, trying to get a run on him. He's got the 84 of Logan Giesbrecht getting ready to split them. Giesbrecht backs off, but here's Eric Papineau. Watching from behind, you're watching Williamsburg, Virginia native Eric Papineau. Watch this battle in front of him. 3 cars going at it for all the same position where Ron Fitting rides right now in 15th. Tane Hodgson in the 93, just over top of the 45 of Noah Hamilton. Hamilton has the edge for the time being.
Side lane coming up off of turn 4, you just get a little bit more momentum. It's tough to combat that on the inside. Turns 1 and 2, you can work the inside a little bit better. Now you see the 45 sliding up the racetrack just a little bit. You can break that inside a little bit better through 1 and 2, but it feels like the outside, or at least the middle lane, is really the preferred line. Through 3 and 4 is a little bit of contact there between the 45 and the 93 through turns 3 and 4. Allows Mike McConville to get away from these guys.
Tane Hodgson in the 93. He runs in 11th position right now. Sean Rogers up here in 4th position in the 44. He's right in the thick of things. And I mean, we've got nothing but playoff drivers from 2nd all the way back through 7th. You can see those here on the left side of your screen, while Dave Regal and Liam Ervig bring you all of the action here at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. We're just a few laps away here from the end of stage number 2. And, of course, that's going to leave us with about 105 laps for stage 3.
Yeah, it's going to be a little bit longer of a run than we've seen this time around, but it's not going to make it any less difficult for these drivers. As now you see Matt Long working the outside at tippy top of the racetrack, trying to make a pass for 2nd place. He wants to try to get another stage win here in the playoffs. Or stage points don't really matter come next week, or not next week, but next round when we go to Phoenix. But still, a stage win. You don't end up getting that important race win. Stage win is huge for helping yourself move forward in the playoffs. Now Matt Long works to the outside once again. See what kind of run he can get coming up off of turn number 4, and it's a big run coming up on the race lead.
You know, you bring up an interesting point there with stage points not going to matter in a couple of weeks. I mean, right now they mean everything as we're here in the round of 8. We're at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Next week, the SNN Cup Series heads to Homestead, Miami. Of course, I think that's going to be Alan Bergen and Matt Metler bringing you the action next Sunday, as Liam and I will be on our way back from the racetrack by then. You'll hear a special call to green on Sunday night, assuming that we make it all the way back to the Airbnb. And then, of course, the Xfinity 500 going to be at Martinsville on November 3rd. And that will be the last race in the round of 8 before we head to Phoenix.
Matt Long able to take over the race lead, and he is gapping heavily. Neil Pearson in 2nd place now. He's got himself a mirror full of Banks, Chris Davis is up there trying to make a pass, trying to get up onto the podium as well. Now Dylan Banks getting swallowed up by playoff drivers. Matt Long driving away.
Bobby Anderson right here in the 18 trying to get around Paul Hill. They know how important these stage points are, and they know that no matter, where they finish tonight's race, they've got to get as many as possible. I'm guessing here with about 3 laps to go in stage number 2, this time at the line, we're going to see the hammer and tongs come out for the closing laps of stage 2.
Ready to heat up. Into the wall goes Bobby Anderson. Sean Rogers going to move up to the outside to try to take away that spot for 6th place. See a couple of drivers coming up off of the pit lane.
Matt Long, your race leader, gapping Neil Pearson by just about 7/10 of a second now, and then some. Coming into turns 3 and 4, we're on lap 163. It's going to be 2 to go here at the line. Dylan Banks in 3rd position. Chris Davis giving Banks the business. Oh my. All of a sudden, Chris Davis has found another gear as he's up 24 spots. Already our biggest mover of the race, and he's not done gaining yet.
No, not at all. Coming to the end of stage number 2 next time around. Chris Davis, he has been continuing to push his way forward. He wants to show that he's going to be somebody to contend with at the end of this thing.
Matt Long now out to nearly 9/10 of a second. Here we are, final lap of stage number 2 at Las Vegas Motor Speedway in the SNN Cup Series, brought to you by Tricia's Hope. This is the Stacy Strong Cup Series. As Matt Long hauls it into turn number 3, he's got nothing but clear racetrack in front of him as he comes out of turn number 4. He can see the start-finish line, and as he crosses, Matt Long going to win stage number 2. He is back-to-back stage wins tonight. He's followed by Neil Pearson, Chris Davis, Paul Hill, Bobby Anderson, Dylan Banks, Sean Rogers, Ryan Samuelson, Cody McCorkle, and Mikey Mac McConville. They will all be awarded stage points tonight.
Yeah, great job by these drivers. Their last chance to get some points in the middle of the race and just bank something in their back pocket in case something happens towards the end. Top 5 drivers all in the playoffs, and Sean Rogers in 7th, making 6 playoff drivers in the top 10. Eric Papineau is going to finish in 21st. Peyton Hodison, the other playoff driver, just outside of the top 10.
Taking a look here at the Ignite Wireless number 97. That's Matt Long out of Atlanta, Georgia. I can only imagine how glad he is, especially to notch this one off on his belt. That's 20 stage points tonight alone.
Phenomenal way to start off this round of 8. And if you don't end up getting that win to lock in, 20 points before the end of the race, that is huge.
Waiting for these drivers to come on down pit road. It's going to be wholesale pit stops for everybody and their brother. And if it's not, I'm going to question some sanity decisions.
Everybody's coming.
I've seen stranger, that's for sure. But Matt Long leading the way down pit road. He qualified 2nd, so he's got a long drive here to the end. Matt Long stopping in here. Let's see if we can get him up here into the booth. Two tires only for the 97. And speaking of which, here is the driver of the 97, Matt Long. Hey, Matt, it's Dave up in the booth. You got me?
Yes, sir.
Just saw you take 2 tires only. What's the strategy and what's the call for?
Oh, no, I took 4.
Maybe I miscounted.
I don't.
Yeah,
Yeah, we got
2
4
on the
tires.
right, 2 on the left. But
Well, that makes 4 for me, I guess. Buddy, listen. Did you make any changes to the 97 here? Because, I mean, we've got a long way to go now in stage 3.
No changes, and it seems to be getting a little bit better, so it's definitely coming to me. Yeah, again, just taking care of my stuff and able to pick these guys off at the end. So we'll see if we can do it for one more stage.
Now, you say that it's coming to you. I mean, right now, track temperature 93 degrees. As it goes up, are you finding that it's loosening for you?
Exactly. Yeah, I was a little tight early, so I think as the track's rubbered in and as it's gotten a little hotter, it's kind of helped that tightness, and it's feeling pretty good right now.
All right, my friend. Well, listen, good luck the rest of the way. Here we are getting ready to start stage number 3. Hopefully we see you here on the podium at the end of this piece.
All right, yeah. Hope to talk to you guys later.
We'll get him moved back on up here into the Dirty South Racing stable.
And just an update for you guys. Still have 30 drivers listed as in the race. Now being shown at 29 as Matthew Gaskins has loaded it up on the hauler. 28th place, Matt Gaskins out of the race. Chad Sander is still out here, along with Matt Mackin in 30th place. 31st on back, Jeff Carson, Ken Ron, Matt Cox, Chris Custer, Austin Call, Diego Rodriguez, and Dalton Mobley all out of the race here before we start up in stage number 3. Going to be less than 100 to go when we get the green flag. Should be 1 to green this time, which will leave us 97 laps of green flag racing.
When we go back green flag racing, it's going to be Matt Long, Neil Pearson, Chris Davis, Paul Hill, Dylan Banks, Bobby Anderson, Sean Rogers, Ryan Samuelson, Mikey McConville, and Cody McCorkle. That's an interesting top 10. We have not seen the same top 10 restart this race all night long.
It's almost like shuffling a deck of cards and hoping that you'll see the same number all in a row.
That's what we need. I need to grab a deck of cards. Thank you for reminding me.
We can get them there too.
Just
Whatever
had
works.
that thought jog through my mind. It's like a fuzzy bunny. Squirrel!
Lights are up on the pace car. Going to be 97 laps to go here to decide a winner here in Las Vegas. Matt Long pull off the clean sweep, get both stages and the race win, move on to the championship round. Somebody steal that thunder away from him after such a dominating performance. Neil Pearson to his outside. Chris Davis and Paul Hill make up row number 2. Bobby Anderson and Dylan Banks in row 3. Then Ryan Samuelson and Sean Rogers, row number 4. Mike McConville and Cody McCorkle make up row number 5 for restart number 7 to the 7th caution of the day. Makes that hard left turn, and Matt Long going to lead him down.
And as Barney waves the green flag, he turns him loose. Stage number 3 underway. Looks like a nice clean restart so far in turns 1 and 2. I don't see anybody bobbling too hard yet.
Long, he's able to continue to just drive away from these guys.
You know, that's something that we've seen all season long, where some of these guys get up there into that clean air, they're darn near unstoppable.
Clean air is king in these cars. They are so draggy. They have so many aero components. If the air in front of you is disturbed, if it's a little bit turbulent, that takes away the amount of downforce that you can get on that car. I know there's a lot of underbody downforce that they've tried to work with, but clean air is king. It always has been, and it likely always will be.
Yeah, you know, I'd be concerned if all of a sudden clean air was a problem for somebody leading. But I mean, NASCAR keeps changing these body styles. It's almost to make it harder to drive.
Clean air isn't the greatest thing at Talladega.
No, that's true. Talladega, and sometimes on the backstretch, depending on the wind direction at Daytona. Taking a look here at the 58 of Neil Pearson, working his way up into third position now. He's over top of Paul Hill and now puts Chris Davis right into the scope, and it looks like he's going to allow Davis to run away from him for just a moment. Neil Pearson, I almost have to believe, is kind of like a cat just playing with his food.
He might be thinking about it, just kind of toying with it before he goes in for the kill. Right now, he's got an inside full of Paul Hill. 6 car trying to make something happen. Here comes a big run for Neil Pearson. He's going to be able to take away second place. He might be able to get side by side for the lead. Oh, that inside lane for Matt Long. Going to work out well for him, but here comes Pearson up on the outside.
Pearson sliding around Matt Long and now secures the lead away. Matt Long running the 97 just where he had qualified here in P2. Not too much shuffling around, but there's the caution. Looking to see where this might have been.
Might be Tyler Hunter. Tyler Hunter coming on the radio saying he got turned.
Well, by the looks of that race car, I'd say he did.
48 car brings out the caution for the 8th time today.
Oh, he got contact from Richard Pruitt. Let's see if we can get a hold of the camera from Richard Pruitt's perspective. And here it is. Richard Pruitt from Sanford, North Carolina.
Oh, there
tags the 48. He saw something spook him in front of him.
I think that might have been Noah Hamilton that got a little sideways, checked up the inside lane. And
yeah, the 48 saw the mistake coming, so he decided to check up and get out of the way. And unfortunately, not everybody else saw it that way. Folks, we're going to step aside and pay some bills here on Sim Racing Media. We want to thank all of you for tuning in, and we want to thank all of you for welcoming us into your homes, onto your phones, wherever you may be and however you may be listening. Liam Ervic and Dave Regal will be right back after these messages.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Basket can't defend. He's got the outside line for the second part, and he can't hold on.
Going the long way around. We're going to be 3 wide for the lead as they all come to the line. Who is going to take it in the end?
And here comes Lockwood. He's going to make the move to the outside. Quinn tries to force him off a little bit, but there he goes. It's going to be side by side through turn 1.
Will he be able to cover him off? He does. Weaving back to the left-hand side. Reynolds is trying everything. The kitchen sink is being thrown at it. They're leaning on each other. Coming into turn number 3. It's going to be a drag race through 3 and 4. Coming back to the line. Here comes Trish on the bottom.
Bouchard's going to hold the inside. Tries to be the late breaker here. They're going to be side by side through the final chicane. They bang doors, but keep it clean.
As they're still 4 wide on the run down into the back straightaway. Demerit's looking for a line as well. What is going on in Michigan?
Novak into the fence. They're still beating and banging.
Oh
and to the line.
He is much faster coming through there. Is there damage on Challenger? Abramitis is ahead. There's going to be a race to the line. Who is going to get it?
So hi, my name's Christy. I'm a wife, a mother of 3 children. I am a sister and an aunt of lots of nieces and nephews, and I'm also a substitute teacher. So my everyday life changed by going to appointments, a lot of appointments, a lot of scans. As like during the treatment, my body just got weaker, so I wasn't as active with my children and with my husband. So I was laying on the couch a lot more. I'm an active person, and so that just didn't fit well with me, but that's how it changed. My body was just weaker, and I couldn't do the things that I used to do. So there was a lady in where I live from a local church who had heard that I had breast cancer, and she sent me a letter just reaching out for support, and she actually said that she's the one that told me about Trisha's Hope and that I should contact them, so I did. So specifically, I wasn't able to really work during my treatment or anything like that, so the grant that I was able to get helped me pay my bills, provide gas money. I was driving to and from treatments, and so it helped a lot with bills and everything. I would just say I am so grateful for Trisha's Hope and for all the people that have donated, because I don't know what I would have done without them.
The most realistic online racing sim ever made. This is iRacing. Detailed laser scan tracks, fully dynamic, real world cars, and over 50 series to choose from. 6 online world championships offering over $400,000 in annual prizes. This is the original esport racing game. This is iRacing.
Kane Hodgson takes over the race lead, and Michael Witt moves up into second after Sean Rogers loses that top spot. Missed the restart there, but incredible action. That's on Neil Pearson. Jump out to a strong lead, get chased back down by Sean Rogers, and now Kane Hodgson, after going a lap down at the end of stage number 1, takes over the race lead and is trying to do what he can to move on into the next round, into the final round of the playoffs here in Las Vegas. I'm Liam Irving up in the booth. We've got Dave Regal, as always, tagging along here. Thanks for showing up and joining us here on Sim Racing Media, allowing us into your televisions, into your computers, tablets, phones, whatever you're watching on. We're just happy to have you, as we've got 3 wide action down the back straightaway. Matt Long trying to get down to the inside of Chris Davis and recover after losing significant positions throughout the course of this last pit stop cycle. Now on the bottom, 3 wide. Dave, this racing has been electric since we took the green flag, and I tell you what, they're still 3 wide now.
Yeah, 3 wide with the 3 car of Ron Fitting in the middle at that point. It looks like Chris Davis kind of slid back. Wow.
Sorry, Noah Hamilton got into the wall there.
Good Lord. But Chris Davis slid back pretty far here after the restart. He's back in a 10th position. He's going. It's almost like he's falling like a stone. We're just under 100 laps to go here at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. This is the opening race of the round of 8 in the 2024 SNN Cup Series playoffs. And Liam, I mean, you picked a good night to come along for the ride. Of course, it's been a long season so far, and you and I are just finally getting ready for our nearly end of season break as we get ready to, take the week off here and head on down to Miami.
These guys are not going to get a week off, though. These guys are trying to do, well, I mean, maybe one guy's going to get a week off. You know, Tane Hodison is able to hold on and get the job done. Paul Hill's up there as well. Of course, Neil Pearson, Matt Long. A lot of playoff drivers up there. They're trying to do what they can to get a week off. But none of these guys are really going to have the opportunity to relax from here on out. This is championship racing. Tane Hodison and Michael Witt have been able to gap the rest of the field, third place, by about a second and a half. And that is some of the larger separation we've seen at the front of the field all day.
Yeah, right now, Michael Witt ahead of Sean Rogers by 1.54 seconds and now more as he and Tane Hodison have run away. But, you know, we've seen this all night long where suddenly we've got, 1 or 2 cars up atop the pile. They start to gap that 3rd, 4th, and 5th place spot. And next thing you know, we have a 6-car battle for the lead. I mean, as you had mentioned earlier, one person may be looking for a week off, but a lot of these drivers are coming with hammer and tongs ready to get it on.
I mean, there's 8 drivers that are definitely looking at the possibility of advancing to that championship round. There are 29 other drivers that started this race that decide, I'm here for a checkered flag. I don't care about your championship run. Michael Witt trying to do a little bit of that right now as he sits in 2nd place, not a playoff driver. He wants to take that 88 scheme, that Dale Earnhardt Jr. senior throwback, reminiscent to, obviously, the black number 3, but it reminds me also of the car that Dale Jr. drove in the Aaron's 499 in 2006. A little bit of contact there. One of them sideways in the middle of the corner off the front bumper of Ryan Samuelson. Excellent save there for the 82 of Cody McCorkle.
Yeah, McCorkle able to keep it between the navigational beacons as we work lap 192. Now the 17 of Eric Papano running up on the rear bumper. Good Lord. Oh, it's going to get messy.
Looked like one of them might have gotten up into the wall. Here comes Papano up to the top side. Looks like the 84 is going to back up just a little bit.
Sometimes you got to give a little bit to gain a little bit, that's for sure. As we work lap number 193, Papano right now running in 14th position. Big movers of the night, Chris Davis and Cody McCorkle. Davis running right now in 8th. But whoa! Watch the 24. And our biggest mover of the night right now is Michael Witt, who still has Tane Hodison in his sights as they get ready to battle it out for the lead. Hodison in the throwback that you were just talking about, drawing in closer and closer to the 93 of Tane Hodison.
Move it down to the inside to try to take away that pass. Try to listen in and see if I can get in on some of this radio conversation. But, that 88 car, he wants to get out front. He wants to get some clean air and try to lead this race. Tane Hodison, he wants to stay out front just as much. He knows his car isn't going to handle as well, given the turbulent air behind the 88. He wants to keep that clean air as long as he possibly can. Sounds like Mike might be trying to make a deal or something just to get out front for a lap. They are 3 wide for 3rd place. Pearson's going to take advantage.
All of a sudden, Pearson able to take advantage, and he hits the high line. Watch the 45 drift back now. That leaves the 44 of Sean Rogers in 4th position. Oh my, here he comes, Matt Long with a full head of steam now to battle it out with Sean Rogers.
All the way to the top of the racetrack. He's going to get a nice run on Rogers. Going to get a nice run on Pearson, too, coming down the front straightaway.
These guys keep it so interesting all night long. I mean, I know that you and I have called so many, hundreds and, maybe even close to 1,000 races over time. But, hundreds of races that we see, call, watch, are taking part of. And sometimes they get themselves into a little bit of a lull. But this league tonight has managed to keep it on top and on point all night long.
These guys have been incredibly clean. Any incidents that we've had have been minor, with the exception of that crash coming up off of turn number 4 that took out multiple cars. But even then, I mean, we've had some incidents that have had a lot of cars collected. No major damage on a lot of these guys. I think we've got 7 cars that are out of the race due to contact. 8 cars potentially. So, I mean, attrition is showing up a little bit. In a 400-mile race, Sunday Night NASCAR does a phenomenal job of keeping their drivers in it and, keeping things competitive throughout the course of the field.
Sean Rogers here in the 44. He sits just between the 6 of Paul Hill and just ahead of Chris Davis in the 74. They're trying to keep it all together. It looks like 5 playoff drivers in a row: Pearson, Long, Hill, Rogers, and Davis. With Tane Hodgson, your race leader. Michael Witt, the only one. It's almost like one of these things is not like the other. Michael Witt, the only non-playoff driver in the top 7.
Six out of your 8 playoff drivers are in the top 7, in the top 10.
I can't believe some of this. I mean, a lot of what we see tonight, has been going on all night long. A lot of times, especially in these next-gen cars, we see guys go single file and they try to pick one another off one at a time. But here in Las Vegas, they seem to have figured out how to go side by side, do it safely, and do it competitively to keep this race exciting. I mean, right now we look at the 81 of Ryan Samuelson. He had himself a moment earlier on in this race as we go on board with him. He's chasing down Mikey Mac McConville in the 1 machine out of South Jersey. And I'll tell you what, the Cape May native, the North Cape May native, wow, I can talk real good.
He's from Maryland.
I can talk okay. Woo! But the Cape May native keeping it interesting here is now he works underneath Michael Witt. Of course, Mike McConville, another non-playoff driver here in the Cup Series. He's usually in the Xfinity Series, but decides that he wants to come up here and bum around with the Cup guys.
And these playoff drivers have decided we're done playing with our food. Mike Witt getting pushed out of the top 6. Now 6 of the top 6, all playoff drivers. Tane Hodgson doing a phenomenal job recovering from the earlier problem he had going a lap down. Ryan Samuelson, like you mentioned, had himself a little bit of an oopsie on the restart. He's out. I mean, he's just outside of the top 5. He's in 8th place right now, doing a phenomenal job recovering, keeping Cody McCorkle behind him. Got Bobby Anderson and Eric Papineau in 12th and 13th. So all of our playoff drivers make up the top 13. Not an awful day, to finish 13th in a 37-car field, but when you're racing specifically against these other 7 drivers, you can't afford a finish outside of the top 10.
Ryan Samuelson running in 8th position right now. Tane Hodgson starting to have to defend his lead a little bit. He's got a rear view mirror full of Neil Pearson as Pearson looks to the inside now. Here comes the move. Side by side they go in this move for the lead from the Silver Fox. Neil Pearson working just underneath Tane Hodgson. They go drag racing down the Nellis straightaway. Here they come into turn number 3. Does Pearson have the run? Not just yet. He doesn't. But he's as close as it's going to get as his teammate.
I don't know. I think he's got it.
Oh, there it is.
He gets there coming up off of turn number 4, and here comes Matt Long down to the inside, trying to take away second. Comers and goers have been the story all night. You can see a guy get out to the lead. He'll be able to lead by, for about 10 laps, but by that time, somebody's going to be able to reel him in. And that's exactly what we saw. Tane Hodgson got out front, enjoyed that clean air. He got reeled back in. How long can the 58 stay out front? As now we see Paul Hill moving down to the inside for third.
Neil Pearson, your new race leader, the modern-day Silver Fox, gaining here on Matt Long. Now we can see those two teammates finally get themselves together here at the top of the pile, where we're going to be 60 laps to go this time at the line.
60 laps to go. That fuel window's open, but I expect these guys to go 10 to 12 more laps to try to split this stage directly in half. Look at Matt Long trying to get up to the outside, coming up off of 4. He's going to get the front fender up there. He's got himself a nice run going into turns 1 and 2. Can he work that outside?
Side by side they go, hammer and tongs out as Matt Long now battles it out with his teammate. These guys are going to keep it interesting for us the rest of the way, as now we are officially at 60 to go.
A little bit of wall contact there from Neil Pearson in the 58. That's going to allow the 6 a shot to move up. He's going to move to the outside. Gets his left front up onto the right rear quarter panel for just a moment, but Neil Pearson able to hold on, slides up in front of the 6. Daring move there is now Paul Hill moves down to the inside to try to take second away on the bottom side of the racetrack.
Now it looks like Neil Pearson going to have to battle it out with Paul Hill here in the Dent Slayer number 6 Ford Mustang. They kind of get themselves cooled off here. Let's take a peek back further in the pack. Cody McCorkle here in the 82. He's working just underneath Tane Hodgson in the 93 and just ahead of Bobby Anderson in the Interstate Batteries Ford Mustang. These drivers aren't even thinking about backing off anytime soon. I really thought that at some point we might see somebody try to say, you know what, maybe I'm going to conserve and try to save what I got. But these guys are full send here.
Yeah, I mean, it's a tough balance to try to conserve your stuff but still stay fast. And I feel like Matt Long in the 97, he's shown the best at that so far. But right now, he's still got 0.3 of a second with Neil Pearson. Neil not letting that gap increase. Tane Hodgson, he's fallen back to 8th place after leading a lot of this race. Talk a little bit about comers and goers, tires wearing down. Well, that's honestly one of my favorite things that we're seeing here. Somebody can get out to a lead, but they can't really hold on to it.
Right now, your top 10, Matt Long, Neil Pearson, Paul Hill, Sean Rogers, Mike McConville, Chris Davis, Ryan Samuelson, Tane Hodgson, Bobby Anderson, and Cody McCorkle. Those are your top 10. Ron Fitting looking just from the outside in right now. As we go on board with him, he can see the top 10, he can smell it, but he just can't quite get there at this moment. I'm wondering if he's got something up his sleeve to try to get in there, because after you look behind Ron Fitting, there's nearly 7 seconds back to Dylan Banks in 12th position.
Given that onboard shot, it does seem like that 3 car is running a little bit tight right now. Not sure what he's going to be able to do in the car to be able to adjust to make this thing a little bit better in the next couple laps before the pit stop. It sounds like pit stops are going to be starting pretty soon here. The 88. Calling out, he's going to be making a pit stop from 15th place. They're running in 2nd place for a good portion of the start of this run. Fell back a considerable amount. He's going to make an early pit stop.
Well, you know, this is the question that everybody starts to ask themselves. We're just a little bit more than 50 to go here. 53, if you will, as he's going to come in and get that pit service. This is Michael Witt out of Bristol, Tennessee. I'm just saying, he almost looks like that Tiger guy. Just a little bit.
I see what you mean there, but we'll see if he looks like $1 million with this early pit stop.
Is this the money stop? We don't know.
It certainly could be. If we stay green, this will be the last pit stop of the race, but that is a big if. If we stay green. It's so easy to make a mistake at this level. I mean, I know that, we've seen these guys run fairly clean throughout the course of this race. We've seen a couple of contacts, a couple of incidents for cause. These guys have been phenomenal. Lap in and lap out. And I know it's easy to think, these guys, they haven't really wrecked lately. We're not going to see a caution. These guys are just too good. You can make a mistake at any level. Well, Daniel Hemrick made a big mistake today in the Cup Series.
Yeah, even the pros make mistakes.
Big mistake out of Daniel Hemrick. You see that one, Dave?
I did. I'm impressed.
It was pretty brutal.
I'll tell you what, I was watching bits and pieces of the race. It's been a day of preparation, and after yesterday being up in the mountains, it was definitely a day of trying to get things ready for going. But of course, I had the race on in the background. Apparently, it was also Philadelphia Eagles Day here just outside the city of brotherly love. Wouldn't have guessed. And I also unfortunately saw that your Minnesota Vikings are no longer undefeated.
Yeah.
I was really hoping for that. I mean, Minnesota's got a lot going for it right now in the world.
Do they?
I was just trying to play the middle of the field.
Well, we can talk about the crumble of the Twins in the second half of the season. Got a lot going there.
I'd rather see the Twins. I'd rather see them crumble in the second half and not make the playoffs instead of make the playoffs and crap the bed.
Won a series last year. First time in 20 years.
Look, I was
excited
excited for you all year.
20 years.
I was excited for you all year. And if I would have had more vacation time, I would have been out in Minnesota. But instead, there I was, spring training, Myrtle Beach with the fam. I would have rather been in Minnesota than Myrtle Beach. Don't tell my mother.
Spring training time, but
Buddy, I'm telling you, come on down. Well, of course, your spring training is west.
we do ours at Fort Myers.
Oh, that's right. I was at Fort Myers. I sent you pictures.
Mm-hmm.
Really nice ballpark, too, by the way. Clean bathrooms.
I'll get there one day.
Another taker. Listen, you can come down next year. Let's go.
We can see. Like you said, another taker, 57. Larry Miles is going to come in this time around. I think 19th at the moment. 47 laps to go for your race leader. John Rogers sounds like he's going to be the first one of our top 5 to come in. We'll see if anybody up front comes in with him.
Here's Mikey Mac McConville just behind the 18. We switch back here to the double natural. That's Rich Jett in the 77 out of Schwanksville, Pennsylvania. I was out his way last week. Didn't get a chance to hang out. I just happened to be in the neighborhood. It's only about 20 minutes away from here, God forbid. And here comes Keith Long in the 71. He's chasing down Alex Princeton in a battle for 11th position. A lot of these battles that we see are deeper in the field. I mean, we're always concerned about the leaders doing what the leaders do, but some of these battles, especially as the points come into play this late in the season, right now, Sean Rogers running in 16th position. He's down on pit road. Tane Hodison coming down onto pit road. He's coming out of 9th. Eric Papineau's down a lap in 22nd. That's going to cost him dearly as we look to the transfer spot for the round of 4 when we get to Phoenix.
Yeah, you definitely don't want to get yourself caught in a lap down here. So far, the top 12 stay out on the racetrack. Here comes Neil Pearson from second place. He's going to make a pit stop.
The modern-day Silver Fox, he slides on down. That leaves Matt Long and Paul Hill up here atop the pile, separated by about a second and a half. This is kind of what we've known Matt Long for all year long. Matt Long all by his lonesome up here. We look back to Dylan Banks, who's currently chasing down Ron Fitting in the 3. Now Fitting holds the high side, but here comes Banks, and all of a sudden your top 3, Matt Long, Paul Hill, and Chris Davis down pit road. That's going to cycle Ryan Samuelson up to the race lead.
Of course, it's going to be important to make it on and off of pit road without a problem as the caution comes out. Bobby Anderson has got around on entry. He might have missed his pit stall there, but the caution is going to come out, and this changes everything. Matt Long, Alex Prince, and Paul Hill, Chris Davis, they might be in the best situation now as they're going to be able to get off of pit lane, likely without losing a lap. With that, they're going to be able to cycle back out to the front when all of these other drivers come into pit. Let's see what happened to the 18.
The 18 did some landscaping, got himself sideways, and comes back out onto the racetrack. Oh, and that's what brings out the caution.
Like he had missed the pits.
I don't think he meant to do that.
No.
I mean, I'm not an expert by any stretch, but Ray Charles could have told you that wasn't intentional. That's going to put Ryan Samuelson up on top of the pile for the time being. He's going to have to come down pit road. Obviously, now we are in money stop position, 40 laps left. And here comes Samuelson, Banks, Fitting, Anderson. I'd like to see what, just a moment before from Bobby Anderson. It looks like he was having a lot of trouble coming off and on track. Let's see what this looks like. Here's Bobby Anderson coming out of turn 4, swings high.
Oh!
Oh!
He got into the back of Davis.
Yeah, he did. We're going to watch this again. But this time we're going to do it from the nose of the Anderson machine. Here comes the 74. Oh. As he goes bouncing through the infield. You got to figure if he would have left that thing woe itself down and maybe tried to come out about where he is now, he may not have brought the caution out.
It's entirely possible, but nonetheless, we see a caution with 40 laps to go here in Las Vegas. Things are going to heat up in a hurry.
Matt Long going to be back up here in the race lead with Chris Davis and Paul Hill, your top 3. For lack of a better term, this could change everything. Ryan Samuelson suddenly up into 4th position. We see Chris Davis down pit road. That's going to cycle Dylan Banks into 4th, Ron Fitting into 5th, and John Wilco into 6th.
We'll see what happens with Davis here. Matt Long's going to inherit the race lead once again. At Paul Hill, Ryan Samuelson, Dylan Banks, Ron Fitting, John Wilco, Steve Herring, Rich Jett, Neil Pearson, Alex Princeton in the top 10.
Matt Long, your race leader. We can see some of these other playoff drivers. Now, looks like just 3 playoff drivers, Neil Pearson, Matt Long, and Paul Hill. They're here in your top 10. Everybody else is sprinkled through here. Anderson, Davis, Rogers, Papineau, Hodison.
Hodison all the way back in 20th place. Going to have to take that wave around as he's just in front of your race leader. Numerous drivers going to have to take the wave around after this pit cycle. Very poor timing for a caution to come out if you're a crew chief. Somebody like Matt Long, that could not have come out at a better time.
How right you are. Of course, a little bit of a programming note here. Tomorrow night's Monday Night NASCAR Xfinity race going to be anchored by the one and only Alan Bergen, as yours truly going to spend the night trying to get everything settled up to get out of here. So this will be my last night of work here at the microphone until next Monday. Plane lands, I come home, and immediately get back on the mic. No rest for the weary here at Sim Racing Media. These races won't call themselves.
We'll see what we get here as the field is doubled up once again. Going to be less than 40 laps to get it done here in Las Vegas. 9 cautions so far. Matt Long holds out of the race lead. He's won both stages. Perfect opportunity with the caution during the pit cycle for him to retake the lead. However, Paul Hill and a very hungry Ryan Samuelson and Dylan Banks right behind him in row 2.
You know, I don't know if you do that. Well, I'll cover that after we get back. Green flag racing. The pace car dives on down. We come into the Geico restart zone, and off we go. Matt Long with control of the field hits the loud pedal and brings along Ryan Samuelson and Paul Hill. I don't know if you do this very often, but sometimes I like to know where the airplane that I'm about to fly on is coming from. Get this. The plane that I'm flying on comes in. Well, that's interesting. Comes in from Zurich and then goes to Florida.
Zurich.
Yep, Switzerland to Florida. You know, sometimes you want to take a little bit of a break after a long flight, but nope, I guess not for the plane.
They're machines. The more that they work, the better they work.
I'm going to go with that.
They age quicker when they don't move, you know?
Looks like there's still some empty seats here on this plane, including the middle one next to me. That could be fun.
Go. New race leader Paul Hill takes over the top spot.
Paul Hill has had a long season here in the SNN Family of Racing Series. And, you know, all of a sudden it seems like it's just coming together for him. As I'm looking for his stats, there they are. But Paul Hill this season, he's had a couple of good finishes. And, of course, now they're not on the screen. He won at, what in the world? He won at Coda. That was, and let's see, also at the Glen. So obviously a little bit of a road course whisperer, if you will. It's interesting.
Wants to get himself a win at an oval. Time road course winner this year.
Paul Hill out of Jacksonville, Florida, from Grease Monkey Motorsports, leads the way now in front of Matt Long and Ryan Samuelson. Samuelson out of Westminster, Maryland, claims that he is my sister's favorite driver, and that's fine. She's not into dudes, so hopefully it's all about racing for him.
Joke's on you, bud. I don't have a sister.
Even better.
I'm a really effeminate brother.
That would...
Anyways, we've got ourselves a phenomenal battle here coming up off of turn number 2. Paul Hill holds out of the race lead, but Matt Long getting himself a nice run. Gets right up to that back bumper of the 6 machine, trying to make something happen. Ron Fitting up on the top side in the 3. Haven't spoken his name much in terms of the top 5, but he's up here with the top 5 spot, trying to keep Chris Davis behind him. Davis looking towards the middle for 3 wide. Is he going to be able to take away that 5th spot?
I cannot believe you right now.
I can't either. Let's just move forward. All right, we've got ourselves Ron Fitting up on the top side, trying to take away 2nd from Matt Long.
Matt Long holding on to P2 for the time being. He's got to hold off Ron Fitting and Ryan Samuelson. As Samuelson here works P3, Matt Long in P2. He's got to be chasing down Paul Hill. And, you know, Matt Long is the kind of person where with now 30 laps to go, he's going to be patient. He's going to hold on to this. What he's going to do right now, at least from what we've seen over the course of this season, he's going to be defensive driving, holding off the 3, and he'll worry about the 6 when the time comes. But for the time being, it's all about, trying to maintain that P2 positioning.
You don't want to let anybody get past you here, especially with Ron Fitting working the top side as well as he is. You want to try to curve that run where you can, and look at Ron in the 3-car. Huge run up on the top side. He's going to get side by side for second and quite possibly have himself a nose up top for the race lead. He does. He's going to get side by side for the lead. Where does Matt Long try to go? He's going to lose a little bit of time here. That's going to slot the 3-car up into second place.
For the time being, Ron Fitting going to run P2. We're going to go on board here with Chris Davis. He can see this battle happening in front of him out of Koshkonong, Missouri. Chris Davis holding on to P4 for the time being. He's looking for a way around Matt Long. Gives him a little bit of a bump. They're bump drafting into turn 3.
Long, he's doing everything he can right now to just conserve his stuff. Patience is a big part of this game. I know we're getting towards the end. We've got less than 30 laps to go, but that's still a long way to go on your tires. You don't want to overdo it. You don't want to risk wearing down your stuff. And that's exactly what we've seen throughout the course of this race. Drivers getting out front, wearing down their stuff, getting past to the lead, and falling down outside of the top 5.
And here we are, less than 30 to go. Your race leader is Paul Hill. P2 is Ron Fitting. And a whole bunch of angry Hornets behind him. Watch these Wasps fly. The double natural of Rich Jet here. We ride on board with the Godzilla machine. But due to international copyright laws, it's not.
It looks like Godzilla, but it's not.
But it's not. Ron Fitting holding on right now to P9. He's up 25 spots. Dude, I mean, hats off to Rich Jet. As he started in 34th and now runs in 9th.
Phenomenal drive for that 77 machine. Like you said, the double natural. Getting it done. He's made a lot of passes here, and he's trying to make a few more as that car looks super strong up on the top side. Gets right up next to the wall, and he's going to have McCorkle cleared coming up off of turn number 2. Now he's going to go on the attack once again as McCorkle goes down to the bottom. At 77, been strong. We'll see if he's able to get a run just in front. That looks like a couple of them might have gotten up into the wall. Minor scrapes, if anything, but man, that turn 4 wall, that could really jet out at you.
Yeah, turn 4 always seems to be somewhat of a calamity corner. Nothing major tonight so far here in the 2024 SNN Cup Series playoffs. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. Dave Regal and Liam Ervig with you here in the Tony Trapasso Memorial Broadcast booth. It's not often that Liam and I get to work together. Whoa! The 74 getting wild. And now he's in the middle of this mess. All by his lonesome. He's got 2 drivers defending him from the top and 2 ready to assault his rear.
Matt Long doing Matt Long things. Saw how the 3 and the 74 were racing hard, kind of driving away from him. He just kept himself where he's been strong all night, right there on the bottom, not pushing anything too crazy hard. Got the opportunity to get down to the inside of the 74. Created a little bit of a moment there for Chris Davis, but now here comes Matt Long, coming to 20 laps to go. There's 23 at the moment. He's trying to work his way back into second place over Ron Fitting as that 3-car gets a little bit loose up on the top side once again.
Chris Davis running in 5th position. Paul Hill starting to pull away from everybody. 4/10 of a second between he and Matt Long as Matt Long battles it out now with Ron Fitting in a battle tight one here for second. Oh my.
He's going to be able to get cleared. Samuelson going to try to follow him through. Fitting going to try to keep his nose up there. But Matt Long slides up the racetrack, takes the air off of the front end of that 3 machine. Ryan Samuelson tried to do a little bit of side drafting to keep his nose down on the inside, but not quite enough. Going to have to try to drive it down to the inside and utilize that low line. Coming up off of the corner, here comes Neil Pearson with the run on both. He's going to try to get down to the bottom. Nowhere to go. Gets to the back bumper of Samuelson now. As Matt Long has closed in to about a car length for the race lead. Samuelson gets clear for 3rd. Neil Pearson trying to follow through. And Ron Fitting is the latest victim of the comers and goers.
Ron Fitting now sliding back into fourth. He's got Neil Pearson getting around him, taking fourth position away. Ryan Samuelson, Matt Long, and Paul Hill, your race leader, as Paul Hill now realizes that Matt Long is just behind him. We're 20 laps to go here at Las Vegas Motor Speedway.
Just got to try to take away the line. Keep him slow throughout the middle portion of this corner. Right now, it looks like the 97 going to be able to cross him over. Into the wall goes Paul Hill. Matt Long going to take over the race lead as a result.
All of a sudden, Matt Long back up into the race lead. We've been waiting for him to make the move, and now he does. And the question is, how long does he want to hold off Paul Hill? As Paul Hill takes the apron, he wants to use that little bit of extra momentum coming through the tri-oval, and he does. With now 19 laps to go, they go side by side. They're giving each other plenty of room. This is probably some of the best racing that you're going to see all week.
Absolutely is, and here comes the 58 of Pearson with a big shove from Samuelson. He's going to start to close in, and it doesn't look like Samuelson is sure on whether or not he wants to push that 58 or try to pass him. Right now, he's got to deal with Dylan Banks and the 70 getting down below him. There are 4 or 5 cars here with, I'd say, a realistic chance to win it with 18 laps to go. They are fighting for their playoff lives for the time being. Talking about Matt Long, Paul Hill, and Neil Pearson as they are side by side for the race lead once again. Here comes Paul Hill trying to pull the slide job on the bottom. He's going to get clear. Slides up the racetrack in front of Matt Long. It's a little bit loose, and Matt Long gets his nose back up top. What a move by Paul Hill. And what a job by Matt Long to be able to keep his nose in there. It was almost a wreck.
Good Lord. Matt Long able to keep it steady. Paul Hill able to keep it moving forward. Nobody loses any positions behind them. Here comes Neil Pearson gaining past Ryan Samuelson. What a save of the race for Matt Long and Paul Hill as Paul Hill loses a goose coming out of turn 4. Obviously, conditions changing down here on the racetrack. 91 degrees on the asphalt. Maybe Paul Hill's finding out where the end of these tires is.
I'm not so sure it's that, Dave. I think the same thing happened 2 laps in a row. When he made that pass, he slid up. He tried to get clear, but he hit that seam. It got him a little bit loose. That last time around, he moved up to the outside, trying to get everything he could, hit that seam again, got him just a little bit sideways. Now he might have put a little bit too much temperature in that right rear, and it's going to be hurting for a couple of laps. Now you see Neil Pearson get down to the inside. The 6 of Paul Hill is going to have to baby that right rear if he wants to have a chance at winning this race with 15 laps to go.
15 laps to go, as you mentioned. Matt Long, your new race leader. We've had all kinds of things shuffle up here, and side by side goes the 58 and the 6. It's almost like Paul Hill can't get himself out of a battle now. Oh, contact!
Both drivers a little bit loose. Keep it straight. And here comes Dylan Banks up to the outside trying to take away third place. All of this is allowing Matt Long to get away.
Yeah, Matt Long loves looking in the rearview mirror and seeing this. In fact, let's go here and look out the rear view. You know, Matt Long looks back here. He sees everybody fighting, and he thinks, you know what, you guys go ahead. I'm just going to drive away.
I think single file out behind him. We'll see if that gap starts to close back down. But Matt Long coming to 13 laps to go. He's been the dominant car all day. Won both stages so far as Dylan Banks trying to block Mr. Pearson there. Paul Hill in second. Trying to close back in on the race leader for one last effort.
You've got to wonder if Paul Hill has enough left in the tank. Not the fuel tank per se, but maybe the emotional fortitude tank to get up here and around Matt Long. Because Paul Hill just cooked a heck of a lot out of that car trying to fight his way up here into P2. Further back in the field, here's Mike McConville trying to get just inside of Rich Jett in the 77. That's a battle for 9th position, and, you know, still points on the table for each of them. So, you know, the question becomes, do you give up or do you, get dirty?
I think if you're Paul Hill, you don't want to give up just yet. Last time around, you're a couple hundredths quicker than the car in front. This time around, it's looking to be pretty equal. See what the lap times look like as they come across the start-finish line. Both drivers with a 30.90. However, Dylan Banks in third place, a little bit quicker than both of them. I don't know, man. We've got 11 laps to go coming to 10 when they cross the stripe, and I still couldn't tell you who's going to win this race out of the top 5.
Matt Long leading the way, followed by Paul Hill, Dylan Banks, Neil Pearson, Ryan Samuelson. That's your top 5. Chris Davis, Ron Fittings, Sean Rogers, Rich Jett, and Mikey Mac McConville make up the rest of your top 10. With 10 laps to go here in Sin City, Las Vegas Motor Speedway, the site of tonight's battle. And things are only just heating up. This is almost like, the shootout at the OK Corral. These drivers are finally up here and ready to rock and roll.
Paul Hill with a phenomenal lap last time around. He's closing in on the back bumper of 97, Matt Long. Doing a great job getting into the corner this time around, but he's right there in the wake. Going to slide up the racetrack a little bit. Quarter second as they cross the line. 9 laps to go between Matt Long, Paul Hill, Dylan Banks, Neil Pearson, and Ryan Samuelson up here as well.
Single digits now, and I'm seeing a lot more orange than I am red on the screen. Some of these drivers may have now run out of whatever equipment they thought they had left.
Hill not ready to give it up. He's allowed that right rear to cool down a little bit, not sliding around as much. He's within 2 car lengths of the race lead right now, and he has been running about half a lane to a full lane up in turns 1 and 2. This time he goes a little bit higher and cuts back down. But that has really been benefiting him in this first half of the lap, coming up off of turn number 2. So now we look at Rich Jett, still in 10th place, trying to get around Mike McConville in that Lincoln Park machine. Mike McConville wants to... Oh, we've got a battle for the lead here as Fitting moves up to the top side. Going to get into the wall down the front straightaway. That's going to cost him some speed.
That'll do it every time. Matt Long maintains the race lead after Paul Hill rubbed the wall, and not in a very friendly fashion. 7 laps to go here at Las Vegas. Matt Long and Paul Hill locked in a dead heat for the race lead unofficially, as now the 70 of Dylan Banks starts to smell the lead again.
If Paul Hill, did he view that as a block, or did he view that as I just went a little too wide? How aggressive is he going to be to the back bumper of that 97 if and when he gets there again? As now you see the 97 Matt Long working his way up the racetrack, trying to take away that line from Paul Hill. Coming to 5 laps to go, just a handful.
Five laps to go here at the line. There's Matt Long. We see those playoff drivers sprinkled through here. 5 out of your top 10 are all playoff drivers.
Long has worked his way up the racetrack. Paul Hill starting to get a little bit loose, trying to find a different spot on the racetrack because that allowed Dylan Banks to get around him and make a fight, make some sort of attempt at taking away this race win.
Try as you may, 5 to go, 4 here at the line. Matt Long leads this piece. He dominated both stages earlier on this evening and now has nothing but clean air in front of him with 4 to go. Matt Long out of Atlanta, Georgia, getting ready to celebrate with a Coca-Cola down in Victory Lane.
Of course, Atlanta, the home of Coca-Cola, the world of Coca-Cola is down there. Ready to check that out if you ever
I would
want
love
try
to see that.
A bunch of sodas from all across the world. It's all right. I thought it was pretty good. Here we go, side by side. And down into the grass goes Ryan Samuelson. See if he can recover. Around goes Samuelson on the front straightaway. He's going to come across the track. No caution.
Caution
Still
stays.
green.
Caution stays in the holsters. He came back up on the track, faced the right direction. Talk about the lucky move. He might want to go check out the Tropicana. Oh, no, wait, that just got bulldozed. Doesn't matter. Matt Long coming out of turn 4 now. He can see the start-finish line. The popsicle sticks go in the air. We're 2 laps to go.
2 more times around, 3 miles for Matt Long to complete the clean sweep of the race so far today. The only thing that prevents him from the Grand Slam is not starting on the pole. He was beaten out by 1 spot as he took the outside of the front row. Matt Long took that personally. He said, I am not going to allow anybody to be in front of me all day. That's exactly what he's done. With 1 lap to go and 0.4 of a second, Matt Long looks to be in strong shape to move on to the championship round in Phoenix.
The popsicle sticks go down. The white flag is in the air. We're racing back to checkers. Matt Long, as Liam had just mentioned, has dominated this race. He misses the Grand Slam by literally 1,000th of a second. Dylan Banks running in P3 as Matt Long comes into turn number 4. Here he comes out of turn 4 back into the tri-oval. Matt Long crosses the start-finish line and captures the checkered flag here at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. He's followed on the podium by Paul Hill and Dylan Banks. Neil Pearson and Chris Davis make up your top 5, while Ron Fittings, Sean Rogers, Mike McConville, Rich Jett, and Cody McCorkle make up the rest of your top 10.
And a fantastic drive from Matt Long through and through. Like we mentioned, missed out on that Grand Slam by just a hair in terms of getting onto the pole. But he's able to get out there, make some passes, leads the most important laps of the day, and comes home with a perfect 60-point day. That itself is an accomplishment. But being able to advance on to the championship race and burn it down in Vegas, that's got to be an amazing feeling inside of that 97 machine.
Yeah, the 97 was so strong all night, and now it pays off as he's going to visit us. Once we get him down into victory lane, I'm going to go search for these guys.
Matt Long doing his best Kevin Harvick impression here with the straightaway length burnout. Yeah, they're virtual fans, but he wants to give them a smoke show. Definitely earned it after today. Led well over 100 laps. By far the dominant car of the day. We're going to try to get ourselves some post-race interviews here. Make sure we can find everybody that we need. We're going to go ahead and start off with our race winner, Matt Long, in the Ignite Wireless number 97 Ford Dark Horse Mustang. Getting it done, Matt. It's Liam and Dave up in the booth. You got a copy.
Yeah, what's up, guys? Talk to you a lot tonight.
Yes, sir, you have. And now I get to talk to you. And, you crossed the line first and took home some very important flags. But this time, you get the most important, the black and white checkered, and it moves you on to Phoenix. What's going through your mind right now that you don't have to worry about Homestead and Martinsville?
Well, first of all, the car was awesome. I got to thank Ryko Setups for that. And, I mean, yeah, I was, we were really fast, stage 1 and 2, and won those handily. And then right at the end there, I thought I might have burned up my right rear tire too much, so Paul gave me a good run. And I hate that he got in the fence a little bit on this front stretch. I definitely threw a block, but definitely left a lane up there, so I don't feel too bad. But now, great run to Paul. It's been fun racing him. But most of all, no, it's just huge because we can start working on Phoenix, man. The next 2 races, I can just race for fun and start preparing a car for Phoenix early. So that's a big advantage to have.
You threw together a phenomenal race, but one of the most notable things I would say is that you weren't necessarily the strongest on the initial get-go. You had the longer run speed, and you were able to make passes at the middle part and late part of the run that really separated you from everybody else. What goes into being able to, keep your head on your shoulders for the first part of a run and knowing that right now I might lose a couple spots, but I'm going to get them back?
Yeah, it's tough because you definitely, it's a balance between track position and kind of saving your tires a little bit. And I mean, the main thing is just, not sliding the tires too much. So just keeping the car under you. And, I just kept in my head, like, hey, I didn't want to really fall outside the top 8 or so, top 10, then I'd start racing. But, with this track and these tires, if you saved a good bit for the first 15, 20 laps, they'd come back to you. And then that's what we kind of played all day long. So that was about it.
You were definitely a master of the comers and goers type of game, and we saw a lot of that throughout the course of this race. But before we let you go, is there anybody you want to thank for such a strong run here? I mean, you had a blazing fast race car. And,
Yeah,
Jeff,
definitely just Ryko setups, like I said. My teammates, Neil, a great run for him, and Bobby. I hope he finished all right. He was really fast today, and Dyson, he can't be here, but and then you guys for putting on the show every week. It's always fun watching those. Chris for putting on the league, and then everyone out there watching. Appreciate it.
Stuff, Matt. We can't thank you enough for joining us up here in the booth. Appreciate you for that, and congratulations on the race win here today. I'm sure we'll be talking to you again, definitely before the Phoenix race, but I can imagine we'll talk to you again in the next few weeks.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Was your race winner, Matt Long. We'll see if we can get in with Paul Hill, our second place finisher. Dave, you think you've got him? Might not have him at the moment, but Paul Hill, place finisher up in the booth. You got a copy?
I got you here, guys. Not hit the wall out of 2 and the tri-oval and overheat my right rear by doing so would have been beneficial. But that was a lot of fun, man. 2 weeks in a row, dicing up with Matt. I mean, that was a blast. I made some mistakes, but a deserving win. He had a great car all night.
Yeah, I mean, Matt was one of those people that we saw just being plain old dominant. But you, man, I mean, you came up 13 positions. You qualified in 15th. What's it like cutting through all of that traffic?
It's not too bad. Just gotta, work through the minefield, be careful, be patient. It wasn't too much of a, one could say that. But just, wait on the car anyway, because we got a couple long runs where it was definitely some random cautions here or there that were definitely avoidable. But, we were getting some longer runs there, so it didn't really have too much of an effect. I just kind of let them go out, throw out the fishing line, if you will, and reel them back in there on the tail end of the runs. So it wasn't a big deal for me, thankfully. But it did get hairy on some of those restarts for sure.
Yeah, restarts are always the tough one, and tonight you managed to come up here and finish second. Before we cut you loose tonight, and before we turn our attention to next week, who do you need to thank and who helped you get it done here on the 6 team?
Well, I want to first thank, of course, the guys over there at 4 Wide Motorsports, Chad Sander, for giving me a spot to stay. We had Ryan Samuelson tonight with us, Matt Mackin, or not Mackin, I think we had Gaskins, excuse me. Then I also want to especially help the guys that helped build this set, or they really built this set. Matt DiCiani, Joe Galata, Derek Heitman. Those guys have really helped me out a lot. They actually used to race in this league, and they've been wonderful help. This set they helped build here, I mean, it was lights out. I wish I could have been a little bit better driver and really showcased what it could do, but they're phenomenal guys. They've helped me out a lot, so I definitely want to shout them out. And then, of course, Dent Slayer and you guys up in the booth.
All right, my man. Listen, congratulations on the P2 finish. We'll see you next week.
Thank you, guys.
And last but certainly not least, Liam, I believe you have with you now, as we wipe everybody around, Dylan Banks, driver of the 70.
Yeah, Dylan, it's Liam and Dave up in the booth. You got a copy?
I do, guys. What's going on?
Well, I tell you what, man, you started third, you finished third, but there was a lot of stuff in between. We saw you get outside of the top 15 for a short time. What was it like racing your way back up there and dealing with all this traffic? It seemed like heavy traffic here today at Las Vegas.
Oh, yeah, man. Mile and a half is honestly, it gets so tight and in that dirty area, you kind of just want to be in leading. That's just how it goes, especially with these next-gen cars. But yeah, working my way up to the field. I tried to save for the first like 10 to 15 laps, maybe 20 laps. I could pass people. I could just never get back up to the front there towards the end. So I was like, I just got to go. I've just got to stay up here and do what I can to try to go for the win and try to hold people off. But yeah, I had a blast tonight. Got to have some really good long runs, and it's hard to get that in officials. And just grateful to be here, honestly.
Yeah, you talk about those long runs. You had a lot of long run speed. What goes into being able to make that car fast on the late end of a run? And
Oh well, honestly, pacing yourself. Trust me, I was horrible to when I first started on iRacing. I was absolutely horrible. I was hot lapping. Every lap was a qualifying lap for me. But slowly I matured and learned you're not gonna win races like that. You just got to have the mentality to pace yourself and to try to take care of your equipment. You take care of your equipment early in the run, it'll pay off in the long run. So yeah, just trying to pace myself, keeping that mentality. Um, it's kind of annoying when it's like lap 40 out of 267, and you're like, ah, man, still a long way to go. So yeah, just trying to have that mentality, just trying to pace myself and make sure my equipment's good for the long run.
you did a phenomenal job pacing yourself throughout the course of this night. Long runs were your strong suit, and you were able to get a P3 at the end of the final long run, about 40 laps there. Is there anybody that you want to shout out or thank for such a strong performance for you in that 70 Chevy Camaro?
Oh yeah, I gotta thank you and Dave up in the booth. Y'all are always top notch. Couldn't do it without y'all. We really appreciate y'all play by play. Love the energy up in the booth. It's awesome. I want to shout out all the DGR boys tonight. A couple of them got ranked out and all, but yeah, shout out to them that stayed, and shout out to Paul Hill, a good buddy of mine. Hope to see him win the championship. That'd be awesome. Shout out to to Matt on the win, and Neil Pearson racing tonight. That was a lot of fun racing with him. Very hard, clean racing. Shout out to 13simware.com. One of my sponsors. Couldn't do it without them, and W Energy Drinks as well. Couldn't do it without them.
Well, awesome stuff, man. We can't thank you enough for joining us up here in the booth and for throwing together such a strong race. P3 here in the first race of the round of 8. I'm sure we'll be talking to you again soon within the next couple of weeks.
Oh yeah, for sure. Hope to be in Victory Lane next week. That's the way it goes. Want to be up there in Victory Lane.
Yes, sir. Well, that's going to about do it for the interview portion of the race. Going through our top 3 finishers, Matt Long able to get the win in dominating fashion over Paul Hill and Dylan Banks, followed by Neil Pearson and Chris Davis in the top 5.
Yeah, it's been an interesting race tonight, Liam. I mean, you picked a good night to slide in here to the booth. That's for sure, as these guys have now gotten themselves cranked up into full playoff fashion in the thick of things here in the round of 8. Hopefully, as time goes on here, these guys will put on even greater shows, especially next week with Homestead and, of course, closing out the round of 8 at Martinsville.
Martinsville's going to be a tough ask, but you know who doesn't have to worry about it? Mr. Matt Long.
Nope, Matt Long.
Into Phoenix.
Matt Long is already ready to go to Phoenix, and before we get out of here tonight and get for you and I to go pack our bags and get out of town, we're going to take one final look at our results. Matt Long comes home with the checkered flag and punches his ticket to the Championship 4 at Phoenix, and he'll be followed by Paul Hill and Dylan Banks on the podium. Neil Pearson and Chris Davis round out your top 5, while Ron Finning and Sean Rogers finish 6th and 7th. Mike McConville, Rich Jett, and Cody McCorkle round out the top 10, while Ryan Samuelson and Alex Princeton come home in 11th and 12th. 13th goes to Keith Long. Steve Herring comes home in 14th, with 15th going to Tanner Marty. John Wilco, Eric Papineau, and Richard Pruitt, as well as Tane Hodison and Noah Hamilton make up your top 20, while Larry Miles, Chris Claude, Michael Witt, Logan Giesbrecht, Bobby Anderson, Matt Mackin, Chad Sanner, Michael Caffrey, Tyler Hunter, and Matt Gaskins are your top 30. And finishing out the rest of the field is Jeff Carson, Ken Ron, Matt Cox, Chris Custer, Austin Call, Diego Rodriguez, Dalton Mobley, and Timothy Cook finishing dead last. He didn't even take the start tonight, so Dalton Mobley, 19 laps in the books for him tonight. He had to finish last. Somebody had to do it, and unfortunately it was him tonight. But, overall, Liam, what a great race we had.
Absolutely was. Timothy Cook may have been race control or something like that. Never took the start. And I also do just want to give a shout out to Preem. I'm not sure we got to play their colors tonight, but we definitely appreciate everything that they do week in and week out for this league, allowing us to help put it on. So big shout out to Breen. Man, I'm floored. I would honestly say that this race was better than the Cup race that we saw at about 2:00 today. It was, back and forth. We had a lot of battles. Yeah, the dominant car ended up winning the race, but in the end, it did not come easy for him. He had to make a lot of passes throughout the course of this thing. It was a long run car, so we didn't really see him at the front at the beginning of runs. He just kept playing his game. He kept his head on his shoulders, kept playing with the strategy. Knew his car was going to come in a little bit later. He made it work.
Making it work is definitely the name of the game here in the Sunday Night NASCAR Cup Series. And I can't wait to see what they do next Sunday night while you and I get to watch from the sidelines as Alan Bergen going to bring you all of the action next Sunday night. And for myself, Dave Regal, and everybody here at Sim Racing Media, we want to thank you for tuning in tonight to our presentation of the Stacy Strong Sunday Night NASCAR Cup Series. Liam and I were glad to bring you all of that action from the green flag to the checkered flag tonight. As we get ready to head out of town, we want to thank all of you for supporting us all year long and making what's about to be this trip possible. And by the time we come back, we'll be nice and relaxed and ready to finish out the season, as you will hear my voice next Monday night. Don't forget, tomorrow night you'll have Alan Bergen, and tomorrow and every day as you walk down the road of life. Please, don't play in traffic. Good night, everybody.